At this moment, Chen An turned his head to look at the trees, and suddenly, a thought crossed his mind. That's right, just by absorbing spiritual energy here, the potential value could double. If he ate the spirit fruit, there was no need to wait long. He quickly picked one from the tree and took a big bite. Soon, the system notified him. Potential value increased by 15,000. He was astonished, his pupils dilating, still holding the half-eaten fruit in his hand. 15,000. This spirit fruit actually has such an effect, and the potential value is finally enough. The system then displayed the Eyes of Penetration notification. He wanted to exchange for 100,000, yes or no. Eyes of Penetration. His eyes suddenly lit up like stars in the sky, and his face was filled with pride. Chen An clenched his fist, radiating a strange confidence. He was probably already stable in the third-grade middle realm, so he decided to try out the Eyes of Penetration. With that, he quickly tested his newly acquired power. His eyes gleamed once again, and the entire scene in the room was laid bare to his vision. So this is what Eyes of Penetration is like. What the perception ability could detect was the shape and breadth at close range. It was like a three-dimensional image of perception. As he looked around, Chen and somehow ended up staring at Mu Lin Shuo's bathroom. OMG, he exclaimed, quickly covering his nose as blood started pouring out like a waterfall. Mu Lin Shuo gracefully covered her mouth. Achoo. At this moment, he was wrapped only in a thin bath towel, covering just the important areas. It seemed that the weather had changed. Stealthily glancing at her back, he realized that, at some point, the white handkerchief Chen had used to wipe his nose had gradually turned red. Hey, he slapped himself lightly to clear his mind. What a rascal, what are you doing? Zhu whereabouts are still unknown, and you're here wasting time on this. You should at least wait until Zhu is rescued. You can only find her with strength. He glanced around, taking in the entire layout of the house, and then it dawned on him. So that's it, his Eyes of Penetration could reveal the layout of the mechanisms. After carelessly using his powers for a while, Chen An was quickly growing tired, his hands swaying up to support his weary head. He muttered, looking down at the floor, his mind spinning. The Eyes of Penetration were too draining on his spiritual energy, and at this rate, his current cultivation wouldn't let him last much longer. A voice deep inside him spoke, Zhu, wait for me. 10 minutes later, Chen An finally walked out of the room, his face marked with exhaustion. Unexpectedly, Bai Yi appeared from behind him, arms crossed as she said, I'll go with you. He blinked in surprise and called her name, Bai Yi. Then Chen An smiled and shook his head. There's no need. After all, you're with the government, and you don't have any agreement with the Song family. You can't get involved in this. I appreciate your good intentions, though. Bai Yi looked at him, her face full of concern. But can you really go alone? A familiar voice suddenly rang out, interrupting the conversation between the two. Who said our boss goes alone? The voice belonged to none other than Mu Lin Shuo. She approached from a distance with a strong encourage, a smug look on her face as she said, our company can handle things on its own. Standing before a beautiful woman with an alluring figure, especially dressed in a body-hugging outfit that highlighted every curve, Chen An found it hard, no, impossible, to control himself. He stood frozen, his eyes seemingly glued to Mu Lin Shuo's flawless body. Not only that, but he was on the verge of a nosebleed. Seeing this sight from her boss, Shuo Lin was startled, rushing forward with the tissue in hand, asking anxiously, Boss, are you injured? Chen An quickly came up with an excuse to deny the fact that he was having a nosebleed in front of her. It must be the heat. It's not because your figure is too scorching. It's okay. Probably just a hot flash was his lame excuse. Looking at the tall, muscular, and strong men standing behind Mu Lin Shuo, Chen An asked, are these all Shuo Lin's people? With a delighted expression. Shuo Lin turned around and said, since this second floor started registering for the Awakened, we've recruited quite a few people. When they heard the boss had something going on, everyone was more than willing to help. Shuo Lin suddenly noticed a young man wearing an orange shirt, a black-brimmed hat, and a large bag slung over his back. He was the one who had sold a map to Old Keep previously. Hey, aren't you the one who sold me the map before? The young man grinned widely and introduced himself. Hey, my name's Wang Bao. I'm starving, my stomach's growling, and I heard the food here is really good, so I came to check it out. Indeed, he's my son, a person who loves food regardless of where it is. He doesn't care as long as he hears there's a place with delicious food and drinks. He won't hesitate to go there to try. He flashed a carefree smile with an innocent look. Whether it was full of mischief or not, I couldn't tell, and scratched the back of his head, excitedly saying, my strength is enormous. I can even wrestle that bear. This power is truly deserving of competing in the city's wrestling contest, but my obsession with food is no small matter either. After saying this, I also sprayed the glue. Truly, 3 parts helplessness, 7 parts like father, like son. This gluttonous nature is probably something that would take 3 lifetimes to get rid of. Seeing Wang Bao like this, Chen An thought to himself, it seems he's already eaten the spirit fruit to awaken his powers. This person is quite interesting. On the outside, he gave a smile, his expression full of challenge. Wang Bao, you say your strength is great, so do you dare to compete with me? At this, Wang Bao's father was stunned for 5 seconds. His son's face was no longer as cheerful as before. He was so nervous that sweat poured down, but in this situation, he still managed to blurt out a long sentence. Boss, if I win, will you still let me eat it and not get angry? It seems that this kid's ability is still decent. He's still thinking about winning against Chen An. However, it's clear he always has food on his mind. This is truly beyond help. Understanding Wang Bao's insatiable appetite, Chen An said, if you manage to beat me, this hotel will be yours. The chefs will obey your commands. Upon hearing this, the boy who was crazy about breakfast had his eyes light up like car headlights in the dark night, humming with excitement. All right then, he quickly dropped the suitcase from his back, nimbly rolled up the sleeves of his shirt to show off his massive arms, and responded eagerly. All right then, this is indeed a big wager, but how could the person he calls the boss possibly lose to some newbie who's just starting out in life? Chen An's face broke into a confident smile. And so began the battle for Wang Bao's livelihood, where he charged forward like a hungry little tiger, grabbing Chen An's arm in an attempt to wrestle him down. His face flushed with determination, his muscles bulging, his teeth clenched so tight it seemed as though only a growl could escape. He put all his strength into it, but to no avail. Chen, meanwhile, remained standing straight, smiling at him and said, is that all you've got? Truly worthy of being my boss. A little bit of strength and this guy is like just an itch to scratch. Seeing the mocking expression on his boss's face and the reward awaiting him if he succeeded, Wang Bao grew even more desperate. His face was now filled with resolve, sweat pouring down, his veins about to burst. At this point, Chen An showed no sign of exertion, still smiling. This guy's not bad, huh? And with a light push, he easily tossed Wang Bao down. Wang Bao tumbled to the floor, his face pale, sweat soaking his body, his nostrils gasping for air, forcing him to open his mouth to breathe. Boss, your strength is really something. I admit defeat. I'll be going now. It was truly pitiful. How confident he had been at first, and now, how utterly miserable he was. Just as he was about to withdraw, Chen An asked him, apart from your strength, how are you when it comes to tracking down clues and traces? Wang Bao's face immediately brightened, as if he had found a rare delicacy, his eyes full of pride. That's nothing to talk about. Just hand me a stick and I can knock someone out cold. That's a specialty of our hunters. Chen An gently approached, patted Wang Bao's shoulder, and gave a warm smile, as gentle as the Buddha from the story of Tam Kam. He spoke softly. This time, come with me. You'll stay at the Dai Wang Hotel for just 1 day, and I'll make sure you get a full meal every day. After that, everything's settled. At that moment, the boy, who loved to eat, looked at the boss with sparkling eyes, his mouth almost watering. Are you serious? Then it's a deal. Mu Lin Shuo, upon hearing this, became worried and moved closer to Chen An, quietly asking, Boss, are you sure about bringing him along? The enemy is the Song family, you know. He answered calmly and casually reminded her, precisely because it's the Song family, we need to be cautious. The tiger leaves the mountain. Lin Shuo instructed everyone to guard the place. A poisonous snake will also be called to this location. Chen An then turned to Bai Weiwei and reminded her, if something happens to me, I hope the government can step in and save He Zhu Ju for me. He spoke with confidence, unsure their target is me. They probably won't make things difficult for a little girl. Bai Weiwei's face showed signs of deep thought. She only dared to speak softly. Are you thinking of a one-for-one exchange? Is it worth it? Seeing the worry in the eyes of the two girls, Chen An turned around, walked away, and confidently laughed as he spoke to them. Ha ha, but if this mischievous little one wants to keep me here, it won't be that easy. He knew that the chances of him returning safely were slim, but because lives were at stake and he was the boss here, bearing the weight of responsibility, even though he was worried, he couldn't let anyone else know. Watching Chen An's retreating figure, Vi and Lin Shuo could only silently pray for him. Though they cared about him, there wasn't much they could do to help. You must be very careful, Mr. Chen An. The night had fallen, clouds drifted lazily across the sky, streetlights bathed everything in a soft yellow glow, and the atmosphere was quiet. Chen An used the Eyes of Insight technique and brought Wang Bao along to infiltrate the Song family. They crossed over several fences, all of which were carefully arranged. He silently praised Song Jong Ji for his skill. No matter how well it was set up, though, it was nothing difficult for Chen An. All the setups were interconnected, and if he hadn't prepared in advance, he would have fallen straight into their trap. Chen An truly was a meticulous planner. Where is Zhu Zhu? Suddenly, as he was moving, he staggered, his face went pale, and his head spun. Seeing this, Wang Bao grew worried and asked, "Boss, what's wrong? Did you overindulge?" This kid really wasn't holding back with the teasing even at a time like this. Chen An, irritated, snapped, "Get lost." He then took out some paper and a pen, his expression serious. "I'll write down the locations of the ambushes and hand them over to you. You go deal with them. I'll rest for a bit." Witnessing this scene, Wang Bao was completely shocked. Even the fact that the boss knew where the ambushes were positioned was incredible. Truly, my boss is a genius. "Boss, how did you manage to do this? You're just a kid who hasn't even wiped his nose yet for the boss. This is just a trivial task. Don't forget to wear the earpiece for communication. It won't be too much trouble for you, little Wang Bao." Normally, he's all about the antics, but when it's time for business, he's as professional as can be. He slipped into his familiar furry slippers, grabbed the staff, bent down, and moved silently, not making a sound. Truly, a master of his craft, nobody does it better than him. One of the guards was sitting on watch. When did he even get here? Song from the Song family, if you're hiring guards like this, it's over. How can you sit and watch for the enemy when you're so impatient? That's some style. As the guard requested, here comes Wang Bao. 1, 2, 3, slap, grunt, gasp. Looks like Wang Bao is pretty strong. He knocked the guard out with one blow. After taking out the guard, Wang Bao took the note the boss had given him and tucked it into his pocket. Good person, there are plenty of ambushes here. Then he propped the guard he had knocked out back into his original position, avoiding any disruption. If the cover was blown, it'd be game over for everyone. Get back in your position and sit properly. In the middle of the operation, he suddenly heard a loud shout. "Who's that? This is getting a little tricky. You've just taken down a guard and already blown your cover." Wang Bao's gaze was sharp. He remained calm and collected, staying professional as ever. A man holding a flashlight walked over, shining the light on the person sitting in the chair and asked, "Number 3? This made Wang Bao quickly hide under the row of chairs, trying to maintain the normal posture of the person he had just knocked out, feeling anxious. Then he secretly grabbed the left arm of the person he had knocked out, intending to lure the flashlight holder away from that spot. Wang Bao shook the victim's wrist and pretended to yawn, signaling, "I'm sleepy. You should leave." Seeing this, the accomplice, without suspicion, just reminded him, "Be careful. If you fall asleep, old Song will hit you." Wang Bao sighed, thinking he had successfully avoided detection, but in a moment of carelessness, he let the victim fall onto the armrest, causing the other man to jump in surprise and shout loudly, "Who's there?" At that moment, Wang Bao could only think, oh no, damn it, I'm about to ruin the boss's plan and my own dinner." Before the flashlight holder could finish asking, "Who are you?" he was suddenly struck from behind on the neck. The man immediately collapsed. It turned out that the one who struck was Chen An, who remained calm as if nothing had happened, and asked Wang Bao, "How is it?" Hearing this, Wang Bao felt overjoyed, his little heart wildly beating, and he answered with tears in his eyes, "Ah, my god, boss, you scared me to death." He then opened the map and showed it to Chen An. He pointed to a spot on it and said, "There are 2 people in the control room and 4 watching the stands. A total of 6 hidden stakes have been removed." After that, he pointed to another place and asked, "Boss, what's this mechanism here?" Chen An lowered his voice and explained, "The lights on the roof have been modified with laser beams that can cause instant blindness. The controller in the stands controls a network hidden beneath the stadium. One person controls heavy objects on the ceiling, another operates it from a dark corner, and the last one is the detonator." After hearing this, Wang Bao couldn't help but exclaim, "Oh my god, anyone who goes through this wouldn't survive even with 10 lives. The one who set this trap must be a skilled hunter." Chen An, who was standing by, coldly replied, "Perhaps a talent, but if they kidnapped Zhu Ju and severely injured Meng Zi, this person definitely has to die." He continued, "My abilities consume too much spiritual energy, and I still haven't located Zhen Zhao. You go look for him secretly. I'll distract him, but be careful." Wang Bao's face showed determination, his posture ready to obey. "Leave it to me." Chen An landed on a patch of grass, and it appeared to be a large stadium. After landing, he directly addressed the person in front of him. "Aren't you looking for me?" He spread his arms, his posture exuding defiance, and said, "I'm here." Song Jong Ji stepped out from the shadows, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, so it's the real deal this time. No more nameless nobodies ready to die." Chen An frowned, clearly annoyed, and began demanding the release of the hostages. "I don't know where I offended the Song family, but now that I'm here, can you release Zhu Ju?" The glasses of Song Jong Ji and his father gleamed in the darkness. He gave a dangerous smile and said, "Mr. Chen, your performance is impressive. You, single-handedly, could wipe out the Chen family. I can no longer underestimate you. Young lady, he is in my hands and I feel secure, but if you're willing to tie yourself up, I'd feel even more at ease. Chen An coldly said, are you brain dead because you have no hair on your head so you can't protect your brain? Do I look like an idiot to you? If you let Juju go now, I'll just kill you. Otherwise, the Song family will be completely wiped out by me. Upon hearing this, Song Jong Ji laughed even harder, sneering and loudly saying, Chen An, you really have a big mouth, don't you? Do you think that's why I'm here waiting for you? Because it's in my domain? He waved his hand and pointed directly at Chen An, arrogantly saying, I am the king and nothing is going to happen. A moment of silence fell, so still that even the sound of insects munching on grass could be heard. Song Jong Ji froze, his eyes darting around in panic. What the hell is everyone doing? Hurry up and act. Chen An stood still, looking at him with a face that seemed to say, I don't know if this guy is embarrassed, but I feel embarrassed for him. Chen An smiled indifferently and said, sorry for wasting so many of your traps. It's just tit for tat. Now it's my turn. As soon as he finished speaking, he leaped toward Zhang Ji with incredible speed, but Zhang Ji easily dodged him. He looked at Chen An as he landed and sneered proudly. Ha ha! I've never underestimated my enemies. I guess that these traps might not be able to trap you, but let's see how you'll get out this time. Ha ha! As soon as he finished speaking, a large object resembling a cup fell and trapped Chen An inside. Before he could react, a strange purple smoke was released, forcing him to immediately cover his mouth and exclaim, I'm done for. As soon as Song Jong Ji had achieved his goal, he slowly walked toward him and explained, this is his specially designed cage to counter powerful body training experts. Stop resisting. Chen An struggled to cover his mouth, his mind racing, unsure if the smoke was poisonous or intoxicating. If he couldn't figure out how to break the cage, he might end up selling salt here. The special bullets from the Chen family had already been used up when dealing with the giant python. Suddenly, from the giant python, he realized how to break the cage using its scales. As soon as the thought crossed his mind, he opened his spatial pocket and took out a large blue scale. While Song Jong Ji was rambling about the cage, convinced that even an A-class expert couldn't break through it, Chen An gripped the giant python's scale and stabbed it forcefully into the cage, creating a hole in the spot. Song Jong Ji was so shaken that the glass cracked and he yelled, how is this possible? Chen An punched the hole with all his might. Immediately, the cage shattered before Song Jong Ji's trembling eyes. Chen An slowly raised his head, glanced at him, and dangerously said, your coffin is almost here. Shed some tears. Chen An dashed toward him like lightning, his body moving at an unimaginable speed, leaving only a blur in the air. Each step seemed to push the surrounding air into powerful gusts, making it impossible for him to react in time. Seeing this, Song Jong Ji exclaimed, you're indeed not ordinary. In his hand, he held a strange remote control, and his lips curled into a sinister smile. Still not finished, Chen An suddenly exclaimed, his eyes widening as he realized what was happening. From above, a large trap fell at lightning speed. Chen An reacted instantly the moment the trap was about to touch him. His hand shot up, and in the blink of an eye, a gleaming sword materialized from thin air. The light from the blade dazzled, reflecting sharp rays into the surrounding space. In just a moment, with a powerful swing, he cut through the trap. The sound of metal clashing rang out sharply. Any other tricks? He pointed the cold, sharp tip of his sword at the man's throat. The man stood motionless, his gaze full of anger, but unable to hide his astonishment. The blade gleamed under the dim light, and the air around them felt heavy. While the tip of the sword was just millimeters from his skin, he stared at Chen An, his expression defiant as he spoke. If you kill me, Ju will be buried with me. Can you bear that? You're not putting down your weapon. That's a bit impolite. I won't kill you, but I have 1,000 ways to torment you. Chen An replied, but then a strange sound interrupted the moment. Boss, can you hear this? He calmed himself, glancing at his earpiece, confused. They found him, the response is in. The 2 guards in the VIP section of the stands have been taken care of. Hearing that, he turned to the man and said, now you can rest easy and die. Even in this situation, the man showed no sign of fear. Don't be in such a hurry to listen, he spoke up. Ah, boss. They're speaking on the other side. Miss Juju has a bomb on her. The voice continued, Juju's eyes are tightly shut, her eyelashes trembling, tears falling steadily down her cheeks, each tear seemingly filled with pain and despair, dropping into the cold space around her. Chen An anxiously spoke up, don't panic, what kind of bomb is it? At that moment, he pointed to his own face and said, why don't you just ask me directly? With a sinister look on his face, he continued in a rather calm tone. At first, it was just a bomb with a simple password lock, but I added a few extra layers of bomb-proof protection. But don't worry, the power of this bomb isn't very strong. At worst, it will kill someone, but it probably won't blow into pieces. It was as if he hadn't seen the coffin and wasn't shedding any tears. His lips curled into a twisted smile. Immediately, Chen An rushed over and grabbed his neck, his eyes flashing as he stared at him, shouting, "Say that again." The sudden action startled him, causing a bit of panic. There was only a 3-minute countdown. He spoke, "Take me over there." Elsewhere, Wang Bao was pacing back and forth, muttering to himself, "What should I do? What should I do? What should I do?" As soon as he saw Chen An, he exclaimed, "Boss." Chen was pulling him by the collar when he said, "Hey, slow down a bit." Inside, Wang Bao was talking while looking at the room. "What's the password?" he asked. Upon hearing this, he slowly replied, "I have low blood sugar. If I don't get some sugar, I'll feel dizzy and won't be able to remember my ID number as the password. But when is my birthday?" Chen An yelled out in frustration, "I don't know where I offended the Song family, but why are you targeting me and going after a girl like this?" He looked at him with a gaze full of disdain and said, "The Song family's footwork must pay the price. The password is next time, there will be no exceptions." Wang Bao kept an eye on him, and as soon as he heard the password, he dashed toward the room. Zhu suddenly noticed someone rushing in and instinctively explained, "Huh?" She looked at him with a worried expression and asked, "Chen An, why are you here? Did you leave?" Upon hearing this, he raised his head to look at her with a determined expression and replied, "It's okay, I'm here to save you. Don't worry, nothing will happen to you." He began pressing the numbers for the password. After entering the digits, a red light immediately appeared, showing there was 1 minute and 10 seconds left. He shouted. Suddenly, the door behind him slammed shut. Seeing this, he immediately ran towards it, banging on the door and shouting, "Boss," he saw it and immediately said, "This door is made of special steel, so don't waste your strength anymore." He had grasped the situation and spoke through his earpiece. "Capture him. Make him reveal a password." Hearing this, he turned around and yelled at him, "Don't run." His face remained calm. Turning back to look at him, he grinned wickedly, holding a remote control in his hand. He pressed a red button and said, "Good luck to you all." Immediately, a secret passage appeared and he stepped into it. Behind him, the chase continued and he yelled, "Damn it, the secret door." At that moment in the room, he frowned as he stared at the bomb, silently thinking, "Time is running out, I have to think of something quickly." In another room, Chen An was kneeling before a girl with pink hair. What was noteworthy was that the girl was tied to the bomb. She said, "Chen An, thank you for saving me. Hurry and run. I know that with your strength, you will be trapped in this room." Chen An looked at her with concern and asked, "Aren't you afraid?" It turned out that the one tied to the bomb was Zhu. She spoke while crying, "Of course I'm scared. I'm afraid I won't get to see my parents again or see again." She continued, "Chen An, please go. I'm begging you. Take care of my parents for me. Okay. Just say I went abroad." Hearing this, Chen An was startled, his worry so intense that he started sweating. He then tried to comfort her. "Stop talking nonsense. Just trust me." In his mind, he silently thought, "Hey, future, is there any way to solve this quickly? I'm about to be blown up here." Meanwhile, the sky was gradually turning dark. Resting to prepare for the next morning, the seams slowly pulled down, revealing a large house. In front of the house, a person was walking out. It was none other than Song Jong Ji. He was talking to someone mysterious. The other person asked him, "Has Chen An died yet?" He chewed on a piece of candy and happily replied, "Not yet, but soon. Wait a bit, there will be fireworks." Then he became serious and said, "But really, this Chen An guy is quite powerful, very resourceful. Not only did he see through my trap, but he even managed to escape from the prison. It's truly a shame if he dies. Fortunately, the master knows Chen An's weakness and has captured that famous internet girl." The old man was sucking on a candy while finishing his story. This person isn't someone to be taken lightly. On his own, he managed to overturn the entire Chen family. Old man Chen really underestimated his enemy. Then he asked the mysterious person, "Sir, do you have any plans for the future? Or perhaps you'd like to join the Song family. With your abilities, you'd do well there." Upon hearing this, the mysterious person coldly replied, "We are merely allies against a common enemy. Once the enemy is gone, there's no need for us to join forces anymore." The person then leaped away, leaving the old man surprised. The cold demeanor of the mysterious person only intrigued him further, and he laughed, waving his hand. "All right, you've got style. I like it." Chen An, sweating and furrowing his brows, looked around, pursing his lips and thinking to himself, "I don't know what my future holds. The important thing is, at this moment, I can't find anyone. Just wait until I'm dead. Then you'll regret it. That's when you'll understand what it means to vanish." He suddenly paused, an idea flashing in his mind. Wait, vanish? How come I didn't think of that? Zhu, who was beside him, looked at Chen An crying hysterically, shouting, "It's about to explode. Hurry up and run. Is it really worth dying together with me?" Chen An calmly glanced at her and smiled. Don't close your eyes. I'm going to show you a magic trick. He then touched the bomb, and suddenly a magical circle appeared, displaying the word devour. It was activated, and a green light surrounded the bomb. To Juju's astonishment, she stood there, eyes wide open in shock. The bomb that had been strapped to her body had disappeared without anyone noticing when. Ah, where is it? Why is there nothing here? She was still in shock from the magnificent sight. Chen An stood to one side, smiling, and said, What's the matter? Do you want it to appear again? Should I make it reappear for you? Juju, angry, punched Chen An in the chest before trembling and leaning on his arm, sobbing as she said, Brother, I won't let you take risks for me. Then she hugged Chen An tightly. Thank you. Chen An closed his eyes, smiling as he comforted her. It's fine now, let's go. On the other side, Chen An was holding an extremely sharp object, stabbing it into the rolling door. His face was dark, cold, and expressionless. Bam! A loud sound. With immense strength, Chen An punched the door, creating a huge hole in it. When he entered, he saw a man trembling, holding his head while making a phone call. Boss, I'm sorry. I'll try my best to get revenge for you. Please bless me from the underworld. Upon hearing this, Chen was furious. He kicked the man in the head to snap him out of it and said, Bless my ass. The old man isn't dead yet. Are you trying to curse me so you can inherit my money later? The man was so terrified, he cried helplessly. It turned out that the man was Wang Bao. He hugged Chen An's leg, his eyes gleaming as he looked at him and said, Ah, boss, you're alive again. Does that mean my first-class seafood is still available? This comment only made Chen An even more furious. Juju, standing beside him, was at a loss for words as she looked at him. Chen An just opened his phone, and the first thing that caught his eye was an overwhelming number of missed calls. Mu Lin Shuo, Bai YY. Chen An was so worried about the many missed calls that he decided to return one of the numbers. Mu Lin Shuo, what's going on? The voice on the other end of the line answered immediately. Boss, are you still alive? He was stunned and didn't understand. Is that so? Who told you all that I had died? Suddenly, a loud shout came from the phone. The hotel is surrounded. There are a lot of people gathered in front of the hotel, including some top-level experts. Many conflicts have already broken out with our people. There are injuries and casualties. And yet, despite his shock, Chen An was still dazed and didn't understand what was going on. Mu Lin Shuo appeared and said, Our leader thought that the boss had been executed, and this has dealt a heavy blow to our morale. The voice on the phone continued, Anyway, as long as the boss is fine, we can rest easy. But, and we said, young lady, he, Zhu, who was beside him, answered before Chen An could. I'm fine, thank you all very much. Chen An said seriously, Everyone, try to hold on a little longer. I'll be back immediately. The voice on the other end responded, All right, boss, don't worry. Then another shout rang out from the phone. Luckily, you had anticipated that they might launch an attack, so we were well prepared. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble. The shout left Chen An and Wang Bao stunned. Suju, on the other hand, covered her mouth and laughed. Then he quietly asked, Hey, is Lin Shuo still there? At night, the city center looked dazzling and beautiful. Up high, someone was using binoculars to observe the scenery below. It seemed unfamiliar, but turned out to be someone surprisingly familiar. Song Jong Ji. He lowered the binoculars, standing motionless, bewildered, not understanding what was going on. Why hasn't it exploded yet? Could it be that I connected the wrong wires? In less than 3 seconds, the old man, pleased with his perfect plan, sneered and said, I told you hot weapons can't compare to cold ones, but it will be more fun if I can keep an interesting opponent like this. Meanwhile, Chen An and Juju were sitting in a taxi when the driver suddenly spoke up. What's going on here? This road was never blocked before. After hearing that, Chen An and Juju decided to get out of the car to catch some drama and make their lives less dull. These people are blocking me. What is the hotel trying to do? From a distance, they saw a large crowd and many cars gathered in front of the lobby. As they got closer to the crowd, they saw a man who seemed to be going crazy. He was holding a flamethrower and arrogantly said, To the friends of the Future Corporation, let me bring something warm for you. Fortunately, Chen arrived just in time and used his strength. He shot an arrow that hit the hand holding the flamethrower, causing the man to scream. The situation took an unexpected turn when the flamethrower fell, igniting the man himself. He screamed in agony. Juju, frightened, quickly closed her eyes and tightly gripped Wang Bao's shirt. Yeah, Wang Bao, I admire you, she muttered. From somewhere, a surge of power controlled the water, rushing towards the man who had been burned to a crisp. The water dragon rose up. The wave of water extinguished the flames on the man's body, but he remained motionless there. Chen An worriedly thought to himself, indeed, there must be experts here. Someone was manipulating their power with their hands and said, Now, we shall see who can withstand my attack. It turned out to be Wang Bao. He gathered all his strength and lifted the car. As soon as he hoisted the car up, he furrowed his brows, gritted his teeth, and shouted, "A!" before hurling the car toward the group gathered in front. But no, one of them controlled the power and made the car hover in midair. Chen An stood by, secretly anxious, thinking to himself, it seems there are quite a few experts here, and this power is at least second grade. The three of them, Chen An, Zhu Zhu, and Wang Bao, were being surrounded and pressured by the others. Countless thoughts raced through Chen An's mind. Could the Song family really possess this kind of power? Chen An anxiously glanced at Wang Bao and said, "Wang Bao, wait for me to open a path. You take Zhu Zhu and follow me." Wang Bao immediately complied. "Understood, boss." Suddenly, the sound of gunfire rang out. It was Bai Wai arriving just in time to rescue them. She was majestic, holding a gun in one hand while presenting her police identification with the other. She shouted, "The authorities are here. No one is allowed to gather. Disperse immediately." Her police colleagues began handling the crowd, ordering them to stand still and raise their hands. One person in the crowd spoke in a gloomy tone, saying, "Today's actions are over. You all come back here tomorrow." The commotion was dispersed, and the cars parked in front of the hall gradually drove away with a swoosh. Bai Wai was anxious and quickly turned to Chen An, asking, "Are you okay?" Bai Wai continued her story from earlier when she heard the news of his death spreading. "I was saying," she suddenly paused as Zhu Zhu, hiding behind Chen An, peeked out and asked, "Is that the policewoman?" Bai Wai continued, "It's good that you're okay." Chen An spoke up, "Let's go inside first, then we can talk." Inside, the bodies were scattered across the floor. Chen An asked, Lin Shuo, are you all right?" The phone suddenly cut off, and I heard you scream. It was a bit of a shock. Lin Shuo smiled at Chen An and said, "Yeah, I'm fine. It was just that someone threw a Molotov cocktail, so it scared me a little." Then Lin Shuo looked at Zhu Zhu and said, "It's good to know young lady is fine." Amidst her awkwardness, a man hurriedly ran from a distance, shouting as if chased by a ghost, "Boss, Mr. Mu, another large group is heading our way." Chen An was stunned and confused. "Ha! Outside it's So Wu Kai. She's standing proudly in front of the hall with 500 of her people gathered." Chen An went outside and asked Su Wuxai, "Su, great celebrity, why have you come here?" As soon as Su Wuxai saw him, she rushed over in a panic, saying, "Are you okay? I heard you." When she saw Chen An, she let out a sigh of relief. "It's good that you're fine. There are quite a few spies in the Su family as well. We received news that the Dai Huang Hotel was surrounded, so we quickly sent people over here." Chen An suddenly asked, "You sent people over here? Does the Su family master know about this?" Su Wuxai was startled when he asked, "My father knows about this, but he has a close relationship with the old master of the Song family, so it's not convenient for him to show himself." Su Wuxai said seriously, "But my father will stand by your side, so that's why he asked me to bring the top experts from the Su family here." Chen An smiled, placed a hand on her shoulder, and said, "I really appreciate you coming here. I've received the goodwill of the Su family. Please convey my thanks to the Su family master." Su Wuxai shyly turned her face away. "I didn't come here just to show the Su family's goodwill. This thick-headed guy." Suddenly, someone called her name, Wuxai. It turned out to be Bai Wai calling. She asked with suspicion, "How come you're here?" Su Wuxai turned around and asked, "Sister, why are you here too?" She was also worried. Bai Wai was startled and warned Am. The two looked at each other, embarrassed and awkward. Su Wuxai quickly explained, "I came to help the future corporation too." Chen An stood frozen, only able to smile awkwardly. Su Wuxai was clearly worried about him, which was why she personally brought people here. Su Dong Wang would never sever ties with the Song family for his sake. As for Bai Wai, she was worried that she might use her position with the government to help the future corporation quell the chaos. How could she not understand their thoughts? I don't know when exactly, but the future Chen An appeared and pursed his lips, saying, "Kid, you're quite the ladies' man, aren't you? Both of these girls will become influential figures in the future. Why do they both look at you like that?" Hearing this, Chen An turned his head and laughed out loud. "I really don't want to brag, but it feels like bragging would just benefit you," he said, in response to the future Chen An's anger. After the argument ended, the present Chen invited Su Wuxai and Bai Wai inside. "Thank you both, beautiful ladies. I'll remember your kind gestures." Once inside, Bai Wai, Su Wuxai, and Lin Shuo exchanged awkward glances without saying a word. Chen spoke up, breaking the uncomfortable silence. "Lin Shuo, Song Jong Ji said that we're stealing from the Song family. What's going on with that?" Hearing this, Lin Shuo turned around in surprise, eyes wide, mouth agape, "Stealing from them? How could that be?" I've already checked the business dealings of the Chen family that we've taken over, and there's nothing overlapping with the Song family's business. There's not even any competition, let alone us stealing from them. Boss, why are you asking about this? Chen rubbed his chin and continued, when I confronted Song Jong Ji before, I asked him what we did to offend the Songs. He told me that the Future Corporation has been stealing from the Song family. By the way, where's Poisonous Snake? Noticing Chen An's serious expression, Lin Shuo, who was sweating nervously, responded, I sent him to investigate the Jiacheng Pharmaceutical Company. He glanced away, rubbing his chin, and continued, I don't think this matter is as simple as it seems. The scene shifted into a small house where moonlight shone through. Inside the house, someone was holding 3 incense sticks, but was suddenly interrupted by the voice. Master, it seems that the mysterious person knew everything in advance, even before we could report. Has Chen died yet? The future group must have already been taken over by the Song family, right? The subordinate, upon hearing this, replied fearfully, Not yet, not yet. Upon hearing this, the mysterious figure immediately got ready for combat, his cold gaze flashing with red sparks as he asked, What did you say? The subordinate's face darkened, sweat pouring down his face. He spoke clearly, originally. The Dai Huang Hotel had been surrounded, and after just a few rounds of attack, it was nearly sieged. But at the most crucial moment, Chen An appeared. Not only him, but even Tai Peng from the government brought people to maintain order. The Song family's forces had no choice but to retreat, and soon after, Su Wuxai from the Su family also showed up. He angrily smashed the nearby object. Chen An, I truly underestimated you. Not only does the government side stand with you, but even the Su family supports you. One of his subordinates snapped his fingers, kneeled down, and said, Master, please calm your anger. Fortunately, you ordered us to disguise ourselves as people from the future group, to steal goods from the Song family, and then kidnap Chen An's close companion, handing them over to the Song family to incite war between them. That way, we can be certain that we will remain invincible here. The more powerful Chen An becomes, the more the future group and the Song family will mutually damage each other. If that happens, we can just sit back and reap the benefits. He refused to yield, saying, I don't care about the Song family, but that Chen An must die. He glared angrily, raising his voice, he definitely must die. That man is none other than the ancient martial artist from the Chen family, Master Yan, with 3 incense sticks already placed on the altar. He snarled, his eyes shining brightly as he spoke. The methods of robbery and kidnapping are not only decisive, but the plan of Song Jong Ji is also very deep. Chen An is not simple at all. If Chen An doesn't die this time, and if both sides think carefully about this matter, it might be exposed. We need to do something more to add fuel to the fire between the two of them. His 2 subordinates could only stand still and endure. The white-haired man appeared displeased, saying, This person is awake again, damn him. The ancient martial artist from the Chen family standing beside him said, Increase the dosage as long as he doesn't die. I want to use this firewood to stoke the flames between the Chen and Song families. Hearing this, the white-haired subordinate opened the door, causing a noise. Inside, a man was shackled, struggling to break free. The white-haired man held up a purple-colored vial and disdainfully said, That dog, what medicine will you take? He roughly pulled the mask off the man's face. The man, scared and anxious, looked toward the white-haired man, but could do nothing. Chen An, panicked and sweating profusely, thought to himself, The future. How should I handle situations like this? Future Chen An stood beside and said, Why do I feel like you're just showing off? In front of you are 4 beautiful women, Su Ju, Su Wuxai, Bai Wai, and Lin Shuo. In my mind, I thought, show off your butt, will you? Just tell me already at least you've eaten more rice than I have in the past 10 years. Future Chen An sneered and said, I'm just an ordinary rookie. How could any girl ever love someone like me? If not, then you should have them play a few rounds and see who loses. Chen An, hearing this, waved his arms in frustration, thinking, You really have the guts to say that? You're just hopeless. Then he looked at Zhu Zhu and said anxiously, Zhu Zhu, you've been scared enough today. You should go rest now. Uncle, he is also very worried about you. Zhu Zhu smiled gently and replied, Yes, thank you so much for today. Chen An turned to Bai Wai and Su Wuxi, asking, What about you two? Planning to reminisce about the past, at their confused expressions, Lin Shuo, who was standing beside, chuckled. Ha! I've never seen the boss like this before. Chen An was so angry that he trembled, shouting, Stop making noise. This isn't over yet. You should go rest and prepare for the upcoming battle. Then Chen An turned around and ran as if his life depended on it. I'm leaving first. He hid in a room, panting, and said, Oh my God, girls are terrifying. He glanced around the room, thinking to himself, Today's situation is really passive. It seems my strength is still lacking. I almost got the person I wanted to protect killed. If my spiritual energy could help me use the eyes of insight for a longer time, I wouldn't have to worry about those traps and mechanisms from that Song Jong Ji guy anymore. Chen An suddenly had an idea. That's right, there's also the spirit fruit. For some reason, blue sparks appeared in the dark night. Chen was taken to another place. As he jumped down, he said, "Quick, use the spirit fruit to level up first." As he glanced around at the surroundings, he froze, his face pale, his pupils almost popping out, and he shouted, "What the hell is this? There's nothing left but a pile of ruins." He stood there, clenching his fists in anger, wanting to curse. Well, if that Song Jong Ji didn't blow up my people, then he set fire to my trees, huh? This isn't over. Chen Shi wandered along the beach, speaking to himself. I'll have to resort to the primitive cultivation method then. Once this is over, I'll have to go to Shen Shan to bring back some new spirit fruit trees. The system's voice rang out repeatedly. Potential points plus 500, potential points plus 500, potential points plus 500, potential points plus 500. An hour later, Chen An sat on his bed and said, "Although I can't use the spirit fruit to increase my potential by 10 times, my energy is now pretty much full. I'll try pushing the usage of the Eyes of Insight to its limit so that I won't be overexerted on the battlefield later." His eyes suddenly gleamed, revealing the Eyes of Insight. He could see and hear a conversation between Zhu Zhu and a man. The man said, "I bet you're really scared this time, aren't you?" He looked away and saw two arms grabbing something. The man continued, "Is this what friendship between girls looks like?" It turned out that So Wook Sai was massaging Bai YY. Hearing this, YY shyly said, "This isn't something you can just look at by paying money." The future Chen An appeared, awkwardly shouting at him, "Kid, what are you looking at? Hurry up and say it. What can your X-ray vision see? I can't sync up with this." Poor rating 1 star. At this point, Chen An was confused, spinning around with a flushed face, nose bleeding. Suddenly, he slapped his own face so hard that it turned bright red. "Shameless, future me? This slap must be from you, right?" That green light appeared again, clearer than before. They even shifted to a container truck, much to his surprise. Oh, there was an employee in discreet clothing carrying boxes of goods. Seeing this, he was a bit confused. Why was something as simple as moving goods being done so sneakily? This guy was suspicious. Looking towards the box, a red stamp on it caught his eye. Then he was startled and shouted, "Is that the Song family seal?" The employee continued working diligently, unaware that he was being watched. Chen An observed the employee's every movement and said, "It seems like this is the batch of goods the Song family lost. Someone is trying to set us up." He picked up the phone and called Lin Shuo, "Come to my office." Lin Shuo immediately rushed over and asked, "Boss, what's going on?" But what Chen An saw before him was her naked, which made him nosebleed again. He covered his face and shouted, "Ah, really? Look at your clothes." Lin Shuo, upon hearing this, asked in confusion, "What's wrong with my clothes?" He awkwardly wiped his nose with his hand and quickly turned his face, as if more nimble than an ex-lover, and said, They fit perfectly." In his mind, he cursed, realizing that in his haste, he had forgotten that he was using his X-ray vision. Lin Shuo looked at him, her eyes sparkling, her cat ears twitching, and said, "Huff, boss, do you have a problem?" Chen An turned away, his face turning red. Well, I need you to follow someone." Lin Shuo immediately asked seriously, "Who is it?" Chen An looked at her with a serious expression and said, "I saw someone secretly sneaking goods from the Song family into our warehouse. I need you to follow him and find out who is behind him." As night fell, the truck rolled through buildings lit up by bright lights. Inside the truck, the phone screen vibrated and the words, "Master is calling," appeared. The logistics worker, dressed in a discreet outfit, answered the call with a serious tone. "Master, it's done. I'm on my way back." Suddenly, he was startled and exclaimed, "Huh? All right, I got it." The route changed, the headlights flashed, and the truck quickly swerved to turn back. The gentle night embraced the beach, and dim lights illuminated each cargo box in the vast warehouse. At the Sinhai Lu Warehouse Center, the truck slowly rolled into the main gate. Mu Lin Shuo, using her stealth technique, hid behind a truck, thinking to herself, "It seems like this is the destination. I need to see who these people are." Her gaze flickered with surprise as she glanced at the location named Sinhai Lu. Isn't this part of the Song family's business? Mu Lin Shuo followed the employee into the warehouse, witnessing him exchange words with another person, pondering, indeed throwing a stone while hiding his hand. Mu Lin Shuo quietly withdrew, swiftly retreating, thinking to himself that he would report back to the boss. Safely leaving the storage room, Mu Lin Shuo abandoned his invisibility technique, appearing in the shadows of the night. The employee turned his head, his sinister face partially hidden under the brim of his hat, slowly breaking into a smile. The beach was tranquil, and the warehouse still had its lights on, reflecting a soft golden hue on the water's surface. The employee was on the phone, excitedly reporting, "Master, your calculations are like that of a god. You managed to inform me just in time to change the route into the Song family's warehouse. I didn't even notice the person hiding." The voice on the other end of the line responded, "A second-tier invisibility technique at its peak. Nothing special. It's useless where I am." Master Ren smiled as he held the phone, initially planning to bring the Song family's stored goods to Wylai Corporation and then lead the Song family into capturing the thief. That way, Wylai Corporation would have no way to deny it. But to his surprise, Chen An had discovered it. "Yes, that's even better," he said, his hand tightening on the armrest. But the master, growing angry, continued, "It's all that useless Song Jong Ji's fault. Originally, I wanted to settle things with Chen in one go, which would have saved me some trouble. Those two are people who could be dealt with easily, considering Chen An's role as the one who stole from the Song family. Compared to the role of threatening the Song family, these are two completely different plans. There's too much to consider after this doesn't work out." The employee nervously asked, "Master, what should we do next?" "What? Wait for Chen An to come to the Song family and demand an explanation. What if they manage to resolve the misunderstanding between them? Then we." The Grandmaster flashed a sinister smile. "Impossible, because I still have other moves." The sky gradually brightened, the sunlight pouring in, illuminating the towering skyscraper. Mu Linshuo, looking anxious, said, "The situation is like this. The cargo truck has stopped at the Song family's storage center. The driver seemed to be quite familiar with the staff of the Song family." Chen An's expression darkened as he furrowed his brows. "So it's not someone trying to sow discord, but the Song family themselves, the old fox making up excuses to deal with us. Is that really all there is to it? Should we check what their goods are?" Inside the cramped warehouse, Mu Linshuo bent down to examine something, surprised as she said, "Boss, how did you find this? It's hidden so well." Chen An, standing nearby, responded, "Electric beams." Mu Linshuo awkwardly hugged her body. "Then doesn't that mean you saw everything?" As soon as she finished speaking, Chen An broke into a cold sweat. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Mu Linshuo didn't let it go. "Boss, you're quite suspicious." Upon hearing this, Chen An flustered and quickly changed the subject. "Stop fooling around. We're on official business." Inside the crate, Chen An gasped and said, "Again, this price is too high, isn't it?" Mu Linshuo curiously leaned in and asked, "What are these? Could it be that the crate is filled with glowing stones and branches of wood?" She pondered the dense spiritual energy. Is this from some place of mutation? Whether it's used to create weapons or armor, this is a top-tier material. Chen An voiced his opinion. "This is getting more and more bizarre. If it's just a pawn to harm us, and these items are a bit too precious." Mu Linshuo questioned, "So, what should we do now?" Chen An replied, "Adapt and improvise, and see what the Song family really intends to do." As night fell, the small apartment appeared under the pale yellow light emitted from the garage. Song Jong Ji lay on the couch, a bundle of incense burning next to him. He was speaking seriously on the phone. "Yeah, Master, it seems we'll have to cooperate after all. That Chen, it is not easy to deal with." Suddenly, a noise came from outside. He jumped up, anxiously asking, "What's going on?" A staff member rushed in, panicked. It seems someone launched an attack and called the police. Song Jong Ji scoffed. "What's there to be afraid of? Do you think my agency is just for decoration?" The old man followed the staff member outside, where a large purple energy stone appeared in front of him. The device in Song Jong Ji's hand flashed brightly, and the stone quickly cracked open. Beneath it lay a motionless body. Song Jong Ji ordered, "Flip him over." The staff member responded, "Yes." He glanced down, his face cold. It's Anzu, the reader. He's lying on the ground, his face pale, his pupils dilated, unconscious. Song Jong Ji said with certainty, "Or perhaps we should start calling it the Reader Organization now." Inside a warehouse, a figure appeared surrounded by a purple glow, and it was the future Chen An. He was speaking to someone. "How do you see this matter going forward?" "My thoughts are similar to yours. There's someone obstructing us from within. Logically speaking, you've just risen to power. Using your hands to destroy the Song family might be too pragmatic, so there's only one possibility." The listener on the other side was none other than Chen An. After hearing this, he fell into deep thought, wanting to use the Song family's hand to eliminate me. Chen An responded in the future tense, "Do you think you've offended anyone?" Chen An rubbed his chin, thinking that he had casually destroyed the Chen family, then made a big move. Mu Linshuo and the others spoke, including Anzu. Suddenly, he turned to look at Mu Linshuo, who was focused on several crates. He asked her suddenly, causing her to startle, "Linshuo, has Anzu been causing trouble for you recently?" Mu Linshuo, with a serious expression, replied, "No." To clarify, Anzu had never taken any action. Chen An, upon hearing this, was very puzzled. He said to Mu Lin Shuo that it was strange. From what you're saying, Enzu's working style is very hostile. I told you and Poisonous Snake to leave. How could they just let you and the others off so easily? Forget about Poisonous Snake's mission for now, call him back. I have a feeling something big is about to happen. Suddenly, Mu Lin Shuo picked up her phone, then became flustered. Strange Poisonous Snake turned off his phone. He's never done that before. Chen An quickly said, let me try. Set your issue aside for now. Focus your energy on finding the reader. In a high-rise building, each floor emitted a luxurious light. In one of the rooms of that building, Master Ren placed his phone down and spoke. Once Poisonous Snake pours gasoline into the fire, the flames between Chen An and the Song family won't be easy to extinguish. Song Jong Ji will definitely use Poisonous Snake to trade for Chen An's goods. And now, it turns out that Chen does have the goods in hand. His face gradually turned sinister, filled with schemes as he spoke to the others in the room. If Chen An refuses, it will not only mean the loss of a valuable ally, but will also cause Enzu to suffer and depend on others. However, if he trades goods for people, it will prove that Wylai Group's actions in seizing the warehouse are real. By then, not only will the aristocratic families turn against him, but the government will no longer protect him. Master Yan crossed his arms and leaned against the edge of the table, saying, Mr. Chu's strategy is indeed extraordinary. The other person in the room was Su Tianming. He sat on a swivel chair, smiling as he spoke. Although Master Yan is no longer here, Chen An can single-handedly destroy the Chen family. His strength is somewhat terrifying. If we don't pull the Song family into the conflict, we won't be able to ensure victory. How are the prospects of the great master? Master Yan raised his hand as proof, smiling as he said, My swordsmanship has broken through. If the Song family can block the other experts from Wylai Group and weaken Chen An's forces in a short time, I will have a solid chance to kill him. Then, a box of medicine was pushed in front of him. Su Tianming said, I hope this will help the great master break through his limits. Inside the box was a purple vial neatly placed. Seeing this, Master Yan asked, Is this the improved medicine? Su Tianming smiled and replied, It has no side effects and is not a banned substance. It can enhance strength in a short period. While it won't increase power as wildly as banned drugs, it will steadily boost cultivation. Moreover, it will also benefit the great master. A fruit was presented by him, glowing on the table, causing Yan Master to be astonished and ask, Is this a level 1 spirit fruit? Su Tianming loosened his tie, leaned back in his chair, and with a smug smile said, Yes, a level 1 spirit fruit can awaken someone who hasn't yet awakened, and instantly elevate the strength of someone who has already awakened to semi-grade. I originally planned to keep it for myself, but even with the help of the spirit fruit, my strength isn't enough to match Chen An, so I might as well rely on the Grandmaster. The fruit had dazzled Yan Master, who took it and bowed respectfully, saying, Thank you. Then Yan Master left with the precious fruit in hand. Suddenly, a voice came from the room as a shadowy figure appeared. The person spoke, Are you overestimating Chen An? Su Tianming's expression suddenly turned serious, and then he said to the figure, I personally witnessed how Chen An crushed Chen Longhai with taken forbidden drugs. Moreover, it's very clear that if he doesn't go all out, I still don't know the true extent of his strength. I won't do something I'm uncertain about. The figure then emerged, revealing itself as Song Changxian. Wearing a half-yellow mask, he said to Su Tianming, You're supporting the remnants of the Chen family, and even came up with a plan to provoke the Song family into joining this scheme. Now you're even approaching our Enzu. 3 forces dealing with a single Chen An. Is the price really worth it? Su Tianming maintained his demeanor and replied, The remnants of the Chen family already have a deep hatred for Chen An. Your Enzu was defeated by Chen An, losing valuable talent. Don't you want to deal with him and eliminate Chen An? The assets of the Chen family in his hands are also yours for the taking. Upon hearing this, Song Chengxian added, I'm not interested in money. I just want a little bit of revenge, but I'm curious. What grudge do you have with Chen and that you're willing to go to any lengths to deal with him? Su Tianming responded, You know how Chen Longhai made his fortune. Meanwhile, in another room, the lights were still on. Bai Wai was there with Chen An. She handed him a stack of documents and said the materials have been shared. There should be something in here that piques your interest. However, after reviewing the documents, Chen asked Bai Wai, How did Chen Longhai get rich? She replied, I heard that the Chen family discovered a method years ago, a method that could delay cancer complications. After that, the Chen family quickly rose to power. Chen crossed his arms and asked further, So, was Chen Longhai involved in pharmaceutical extraction back then? Bai Wai said, At that time, Chen Longhai worked for Jiaicheng Pharmaceuticals for many years before leaving. It was then that the anti-cancer drug and the Chen family's pharmaceutical empire came into being. After hearing this, Chen An began to piece things together and muttered to himself, "So it was you behind this. Jiaicheng Pharmaceuticals." Mu Linxiu panicked and responded, "I used all the secret communication channels from the Black Organization, but I haven't received any responses from Poisonous Snake. Poisonous Snake might have encountered something." Upon hearing this, Chen An briefly paused to think. The fact that the Chen family's background was tied to Jiaicheng Pharmaceuticals and now Poisonous Snake, who had been secretly investigating this company, had lost contact, made everything seem increasingly connected to Jiaicheng Pharmaceuticals. Then suddenly he received a phone call with the following message. "Good evening, Mr. Chen." He gritted his teeth and asked, "Is this Song Jong Ji?" Song Jong Ji laughed heartily and replied, "Mr. Chen still remembers someone as insignificant as me? That's truly touching. But if you remember me, then you remember me. Why send someone to assassinate me? This is quite intriguing." Hearing this, he asked anxiously, "Assassinate you? Who did this?" The old man quickly answered, "Poisonous Snake from Enzu's group. Mr. Chen, don't tell me he's not one of yours." Chen An was shocked and asked, "Poisonous Snake is in your hands? What happened to him? Please don't harm him." Song Jong Ji replied, "I'm not interested in that matter. Mr. Chen knows what I want. Bring us the goods in exchange for him. I'll send you the time and place." In response, Song Jong Ji, he said, "The mastermind has hidden the Song family's goods in our place and then sent Poisonous Snake to Song Jong Ji. This move is indeed very devious." Bai Weiwei also expressed her concern. "If you exchange goods for people, that's basically admitting that you were the one who stole the goods first. At that point, no one will help you." Seeing the situation, Mu Linxiu concluded, "Indeed, this would put the entire corporation in an impossible situation, one from which there is no recovery. But we can't just stand by and watch Poisonous Snake suffer." He quickly reassured her, "Don't worry, everyone in the future will be like family to us. I won't let anything happen to him." Mu Linxiu hesitated and replied, "But what should we do now?" He answered seriously, "I think I need to attend this meeting." Finally, the day arrived, the day of the transaction. At the warehouse in the port, Song Jong Ji sat on a lounge chair. A man quickly spoke up and said, "You did well. Wait until Song Jong Ji activates the mechanism, and when Chen is under control, then kill him." Su Ti and Ming stood high above, observing, and thought, if this Yan guy can be taken out, we won't need to expose ourselves. At this point, the vehicle lights turned on, preparing to depart. A line of trucks loaded with goods moved out into the dark night. Chen An appeared and said, "Song Jong Ji, your goods have arrived." Old Wine was astonished and said, "Boss Chen, what kind of luxury vehicle is this? It's quite unique." Without hesitation, he ordered Wang Bao, "Give them the goods. Let Poisonous Snake go first." Wang Bao responded clearly. Then he began to move the large crates of goods. Song Jong Ji checked the documents with a satisfied expression and said, "Everything seems fine. Release them." Chen An and Wang Bao sighed in relief. Afterward, Song Jong Ji said, "Boss Chen's strength is too formidable, so we can't let our guard down. I hope Boss Chen can move a bit closer to the middle." He complied and moved step by step toward the middle, when suddenly something fell from the sky. Chen exclaimed in surprise, "What's going on?" No sooner had he spoken than something huge crashed to the ground. A cloud of dust filled the air. He had to cover his face with his hand, struggling to breathe. A group of people appeared and spoke up, saying this smoke is the hallucinogenic smoke made by Boss Long Hai. Even an elephant wouldn't be able to withstand it. Chen Anna, you're done for. Song Jong Ji, standing outside, held a remote control and said, "There isn't much time left." Suddenly, something strange happened. The man, astonished, shouted, "How is this even possible?" Chen An, wearing a supportive device, replied, "Surprised, huh? Unexpected, right? You'll be happy. Just wait." Then, one by one, they shouted, "What's going on?" Song Jong Ji, standing high up with a loudspeaker, looked down at Chen An, who was holding a gas mask. He shouted, "Boss Chen, leave the rest to you. Fighting isn't my forte." Master Yan, locked in a glass cage with a group of people, slammed his hand against the glass, his face filled with rage, and yelled, "Song Jong Ji, what are you doing? Are you betraying us?" Master Yan's words were met with a calm response from Song Jong Ji. "You villains dare to plot against my Song family and use them as pawns? Wait until Boss Chen deals with you." Chen turned around and smiled. "It's just a small matter." Now, going back to the day before, outside Song Jong Ji's villa, a luxurious villa with a swimming pool and a car parked nearby in the garage. In the living room, Song Jong Ji sat with his legs crossed on a chair, his hand resting on the armrest. He asked Chen An, who sat across from him, "What's the matter, Boss Chen? What do you want to discuss with me?" Chen An sat cross-legged, calmly answering, I want Mr. Song to agree to this meeting. You must have already figured out the issue, right? The goods are indeed in my possession, but I can steal them. Someone secretly moved them to the Daewang Hotel. The old man retorted, why does Mr. Chen think I would believe just a few words from you? Chen An replied, because there's no person or power in this world that can make me lie out of fear. The Song family isn't qualified to do that. Song Jong Ji laughed loudly. So, you think our Song family set you up like catching a thief by calling out thief? Chen laughed along, that's what I thought. Until I saw the goods, I abandoned that idea. If they were just bait, using extraordinary natural changes to acquire something filled with spiritual energy would be too costly. Song Jong Ji suddenly changed his attitude, leaning back in his chair. That's right, because I'm such a stingy person. So you can probably guess why I think this issue isn't simple, can't you? Chen An answered, because of poisonous snake. Song Jong Ji responded bluntly, exactly. I've carefully studied the tactics of all our opponents and other forces. All the assassinations that Poisonous Snake has carried out in the past were done with poison. But this person, who's not particularly skilled in combat, chose to attack head-on. If something goes wrong, there must be something strange about it. Chen rested his chin on his hand and complimented him. Wow, not many people think that way. You're one of them. So, can you tell me who's behind all of this? Song Jong-ji smiled. You'll find out when the time comes, but we have to cooperate with each other. Back to the present. Master Yan's eyes radiated cruelty. He snarled, do you think we are just lambs to be slaughtered? If you want to deal with us, you better know how much you weigh first. Chen An grasped the sword and spiritual energy spiraled around the blade. He drew the sword, leaped into the air, and swung it forward. A surge of power followed the strike. However, when the master saw the force rushing toward him, his face tensed and raised his sword in defense. The torrent of power shot toward him, but it suddenly stopped just before reaching him. Chen An retracted his sword, and the spiritual energy continued to swirl around it. He looked at him and chuckled, Master Yan, what do you think? Is my strike any good? Have you ever faced a situation like this before? Master Yan trembled with anger. You dare insult me. You killed my disciple first, then my brother. I must kill you. With that, he charged at Chen An, sword in hand, shouting, hey. Chen also raised his sword, assuming a defensive stance, and snorted softly. Master Yan attacked, the tip of his sword spinning in a circular motion, creating golden rings that shot toward Chen An. Seeing this, Chen felt worried, beads of sweat forming on his forehead, but he did not step back. He swung his sword, meeting Yan Master's attack head-on. Seeing Chen An's resolve, Master Yan's gaze turned sullen. He hadn't expected the young man to be so difficult to handle. Then, he swung his sword with all of his might, a brilliant beam of yellow light shooting straight toward Chen An. He laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha, Chen An, let's see if you can survive this time. But suddenly, his hand froze. The shockwave from the king's sword rebounded, causing his hand to tremble. He was stunned for a moment, only to see that Chen An had managed to block his attacking move using just 2 fingers. Furious, he shouted, You! How could you? Chen An raised his head, calmly asking, Is that all you can do? He quickly suppressed his contempt for his opponent, his gaze now sharp with determination. But the master spoke in a deep voice. If that's the case, then it's time to end this. He pressed a raised square button on the hilt of his sword, and suddenly, the other hand of Yan Master wielded a smaller sword, shooting toward Chen only inches away from his face. Chen An, startled, muttered under his breath, This is bad. It's the word pattern sword. Yan Master gripped the dagger tightly, striking with lightning speed at Chen An. In a panic, he quickly tilted his head to dodge. The sharp sound of the wind whizzed past his ear, barely missing him. Seeing the situation becoming dire, he quickly spun around and ran a safe distance, his mind racing to find another way to counter. For now, he had to maintain his distance. Yan Master, seeing this, was enraged. Unable to hold back, he shouted at the figure that kept dodging his attacks. Chen An is running all you know how to do. He gritted his teeth and thought to himself, the word pattern sword, and yet it didn't even hurt him. It seems the gap between us is growing wider. Boss, it's my incompetence that I couldn't avenge you. He unconsciously tightened his grip on the knife, his eyes gradually becoming resolute. The jade and stone would shatter. Who else was there besides him? With this thought in mind, Yan Master no longer pursued Chen An. He slowly sat down, picked up the sword from the ground, and unwillingly thought, this move seems impossible to hide any longer. He stood up straight, holding the sword with both hands in a defensive stance before him, his eyes filled with the resolve of jade and stone as he stared directly at Chen An. Chen An prepared to die. Chen An also calmly turned around, pointing the tip of his sword towards the ground, releasing waves of purple spiritual energy that enveloped his body. Was he really forced to use a killing move? Ignoring Chen An's words, Yan Master suddenly began spinning his sword in a circle, his speed increasing with each rotation. Eventually, only a vague silhouette of him could be seen standing in the midst of the vortex formed by the swirling blade. Upon recognizing a familiar technique, Chen gave a soft chuckle. Want to learn my Ding Guang Du Long Quan move? Not a chance. With that, he charged forward, directly confronting the vortex. The spiritual power from his sword surged out, mixing with the swirl, intending to weaken its power. At the same time, he lightly crouched and leaped into the air, his eyes fixed on the situation below. Seeing the right moment, he descended, stretching his leg and delivering a powerful kick to Yan Master's chest, inflicting serious damage. Seeing Yan Master motionless, he let out a quiet sigh of relief. Really, this is so tiring. Before he could catch his breath, a sudden sound of wind tearing through the air came from behind him. Chen An's heart sank. Someone was launching a sneak attack. But by the time he realized it was too late. The sharp hook pierced straight into his shoulder blade, causing him to cry out in pain. The pain made Chen An's face go pale, his body bending slightly forward as the hook dug deep into him. In addition to the excruciating sensation of his flesh being torn, he could feel the debilitating drain as his spiritual energy was slowly siphoned by the hook. This is bad. This is a weapon made from a mutated product. From behind, a figure in a black cloak appeared out of nowhere, holding the other end of the hook's chain. Though his face was obscured, his triumphant tone was unmistakable. Got it. As soon as he spoke, the man accidentally yanked the chain violently, causing a sharp snap as it broke in two. He stared in shock, his eyes wide as he screamed. How is this possible? My hook and sickle are divine weapons that even chainsaws or guns can't break. How could you? Chen An covered his shoulder, furrowing his brow as he looked at Yan Master, who had somehow regained consciousness and started attacking again. He cursed under his breath. Damn it, here we go again. He struggled to support himself, a flicker of anger in his eyes, if Yan Master didn't stop tormenting him. Like lightning, he closed the gap with Yan Master, focusing all his strength into a punch that slammed down into the man's chest. The floor cracked under the incredible force. Yan Master was knocked deep into the floor, and Chen An coldly stated, "Then let me end you first." After delivering the final blow, Chen An staggered slightly, his throat tasting of a bittersweet metallic tang. He coughed once, and the figure in the black cloak, seeing this, silently rejoiced and shouted loudly, "He's been poisoned. Take this chance and finish him off." He finished speaking and then ordered everyone, "Go up and take revenge for our master. Die for him." From above, another group of people cloaked in black appeared, launching a simultaneous attack towards Chen An. Chen struggled to get up, slamming his hand onto the ground, creating a protective halo. Suddenly, a voice rang out right beside him. "Here!" Along with the voice, a shadowy figure in black shot towards him. Chen An turned his head in panic to look. What's this? Three people dressed in black cloaks, exuding an aura completely different from the others, were rapidly approaching him at a speed that the naked eye couldn't track. Chen furrowed his brows, his expression becoming extremely serious. Are they top-tier experts? These movements are impossible to intercept. With a whoosh, a sharp metallic needle whizzed past Chen An's neck, snapping his train of thought. Chen An was still in shock. He had never felt death so close before. If he had reacted quickly, he might have already been dead. The man in the black cloak who had attacked Chen An didn't become angry after missing his strike. He glanced at Chen An, who had just narrowly escaped death, and slowly spoke. "You were poisoned by me, and yet you're still this fast. But it's only for a moment." He stood above, his cloak billowing wildly in the wind, exuding a deadly aura. Chen An staggered to his feet, lifting his head to look at the masters ready to attack him at any moment. "Who are you? What happened to the people from the Chen family? Or is it?" One of them, impatient, cut him off, clearly trying to buy time. Another man raised the blade in his hand, sneering as he laughed mockingly, prolonging it. "The longer I remain poisoned, the deeper it will sink in. Even if we don't lift a finger, he'll die on his own." With that, he pressed the edge of the blade close to his mouth, licking it in a slow, deliberate circle, looking like a venomous snake toying with its prey. His eyes were filled with excitement as he stared directly at Chen An. "And Zhu wants your life." Chen had struggled to stand, speaking with disdain, "So it's Enzu, huh? Now that I know, I can finally breathe easy." Seeing that he still had the nerve to speak defiantly, the man spoke again. "Are you saying you'll die at Enzu's hands and it'll be an unjust death?" Chen An slowly replied, "In the end, people like you, thieves, even if abnormal, can't be as blatant as you are." He continued with a mysterious air, "But now, if any of you dare make a move on me, don't blame me for being merciless." Seeing that despite being poisoned, Chen An seemed unaffected, the two men were stunned. How could this be? Didn't he just get poisoned? At this point, the dagger had already been severed by his blade. The man couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. A dagger made from a divine artifact, and now, Chen An thought to himself, ever since he was young, he had read in martial arts novels that if the blade moves too fast, the person struck wouldn't even know they were dead. He was in the upper hand now. With confidence, he said to the man, starting to feel a chill yet. There, a bead of sweat rolled down his forehead, revealing his fear. Despite that, he still shouted arrogantly, "What the hell are you talking about?" Chen An, still gripping the saber tightly in his hand, spoke up. "Next is you." He turned, ready to teach the remaining person a lesson, only to find that the other person was gone. "Hey, where did they go?" In his confusion, the person suddenly appeared from nowhere, attempting to strike him. Without feeling scared, Chen An pressed his thumb firmly against the palm of the other person. It was only then that the man came to his senses and frantically asked, What do you want to do?" Chen An calmly replied, "As a handsome man with such qualities, if I take something from someone, of course I must return it." At this moment, veins began to swell in the man's hand, looking as though he had been poisoned. "Don't!" Without hesitation, he took out a curved knife and swiftly severed the man's arm. Chen An picked up the severed arm with a sneer, saying, "What are you doing? The body was given to you by your parents, and you're cutting off your own arm like this. Do your parents know?" Tears streamed down the man's face as he cried out, "Chen, why are you so cruel?" Chen An flicked his hand dismissively, as if the matter were nothing. He then turned to the group nearby. "You all, seeing as you've done so many things against your conscience, I've decided to stop. Well then, disperse. Old song, eliminate them." At that moment, the ground beneath him suddenly cracked open and a fierce-looking man appeared from the rift. Although he hadn't yet exchanged any martial arts moves with this person, Chen An could already sense his strong abilities. This was someone not to be underestimated. However, it seemed like he had swallowed some kind of forbidden drug. If compared to Chen Longhai's strength, this guy was nothing more than a mere match for his entire family. While he was lost in thought, the person suddenly lunged at him with a dagger. He quickly dodged to the side, exclaiming, "How fast is he?" Chen An was thrown a distance away, but suddenly he burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, you're from the dual sword school, right? Then let me show you my blade skills." He grabbed his sword and rushed towards him, casually making a few slashes. The person screamed loudly. Cough. Ah. Seeing that the person was near death, Chen delivered the final blow to end it. As soon as he spoke, he aimed his sword at the man and struck several fatal blows. The space around them suddenly fell silent. Where did he come from? Chen An marveled. Boss Chen truly lives up to his reputation. This kind of swordsmanship can't be found anywhere in Nation H. It must be the best. Chen An suddenly shouted, "Be careful," then used his sword to block something that was heading towards them. Thanks to his sword, the object was deflected to the side, and he managed to avoid the danger. The man, terrified, dropped to the ground. Seeing this, Chen An helplessly said, lying flat on the ground, "Does the assassin not see you? Let him set up those traps again." The man then bent down and picked up the bullet, examined it closely, and concluded, "This is an SVD sniper rifle bullet. It has a range of up to 1,300 meters. From the time I heard the muffled gunshot until the moment you released the bullet, the assassin's position must be very far from us." Oh my god. Chen An wanted to jump into the river after hearing what he said. At that moment, a bullet shot from somewhere, heading straight for his head. Luckily, his reflexes were sharp, and he managed to dodge it. He looked in the direction of the bullet's trajectory, using his eyes of insight to locate the assailant. As he peered deeply into the distant golden building, he saw the figure of the person who had tried to assassinate him. "I found you," he murmured, straining to see a bit more, when a familiar face appeared. It was Su Tianming. "Ji Chang, indeed, it's you." He suddenly spoke up, "Mr. Chen, it was because I was separated from someone before, which led to a grudge with you. I nearly caused harm to your friend. I'm truly sorry. Now you're helping me. But the truth is, I really don't like men." After hearing his words, he was furious to the point of boiling, shouting at him, "Just leave now." On the other side, in a room of a luxurious building, Zhu Zhu was lying on the bed, plucking petals off a flower. "Leave or stay, leave or stay, leave or stay until the last petal. Then I have to leave." Thinking she would be sorrowful and collapse onto the bed, no one expected her to toss the branch aside, smiling widely and saying, "Just talking, forget the petals. I'll stay, who's going to die? I'll just sing and go along with it." Saying that, she turned on her phone and started a live stream. "Hello everyone, it's been a while. I'm here to say goodbye to all of you." Her fans at that moment were all asking why. "Zhu Zhu, what's wrong?" "Don't go, don't go." She calmly answered each of their questions. "My life has changed a lot recently. I don't know what to do anymore. I've thought about it for a long time. I know I can't continue live streaming forever, so I hope everyone can understand my decision. I sincerely thank everyone for supporting and caring for me all this time." Her eyes started to water, but she still smiled and said, "From now on, I've decided to work at company. I heard they're hiring there. I studied management, so it fits." On his side, he was focusing his energy on healing, while the future Chen An kindly inquired, "The improved breathing method seems to have helped you a lot. How is your strength and physical condition now? Still usable?" He answered slowly, "Third rank, mid-level. My physical awareness has been greatly enhanced, but my spiritual energy has been increasing very slowly." The future Chen An explained, "That's to be expected. Without the aid of the spirit fruit, your cultivation speed would be very slow." A thought suddenly popped into his mind. He said, "Oh right, how about going to Shenshan to pick some fruits and then head back?" He then ran to meet Mu Lin Shuo and instructed her, "The Ji Cheng pharmaceutical company is now under the control of the Som family. There won't be any more disturbances in the short term. As for the poisonous snake, we must find the resources to treat it." Mu Lin Shuo gave him a tired look and said, "Boss, what else do you want to do? Or have you fallen for another cute girl?" Chen An hastily refuted, "How could I be someone like that? Don't slander me. I'm here to do serious business. I'm not joking around." Suddenly, Bai Wai rushed forward to question him. "Isn't your main job just picking flowers and chasing butterflies, Boss Chen? If not, then do you dare to tell me where you're actually going?" Chen had no more excuses and reluctantly surrendered to the two bosses. "All right, I give up. I'm going to Shenshan to pick spirit fruits." No sooner had he finished speaking than she jumped right at him. "You still want to go to that dreadful place?" Bitch was worried, and he gently explained, "On one hand, the spirit fruit is very useful for my cultivation. On the other hand, I'm always concerned about the stability of the barrier." Hearing his explanation, she understood the reason. She spoke with determination. "That let me go with you." Chen couldn't resist teasing, saying, "Well, this time you'd better wear clothes that can't tear easily." Hearing him bring up that unpleasant memory, she became furious and snapped at him, "Don't you dare say that." Mu Lin Shuo, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up, "I want to go too." Chen was taken aback by her words and asked, "Huh? Where you want to go?" Mu Lin Shuo straightforwardly said, "If she's going, I can go too." With confidence, she asserted, "I can protect you too, you know." The three of them were now speeding along in the car, about to start their journey. Chen An's small heart seemed to want to leap out of his chest. He slowly spoke, "Do both of you really want to be bodyguards?" Mu Lin Shuo answered with certainty, "I need to ensure that the boss doesn't accumulate any more debt for the company. In the early days of the company's establishment, we already have so many enemies." The driver teasingly said, "Boss, you're really lucky, huh?" Chen An helplessly said, "Just focus on driving." The car suddenly slammed on the brakes and his face hit the back of the seat hard. "What's going on? What are you doing?" The driver's face changed color. "What's happening here?" In front of them was a fire raging fiercely. Bai Wai seemed to understand the situation. "Looks like someone doesn't want us to go up the mountain." Mu Lin Shuo asked, "Who could it be?" While everyone was unsure of what to do, a group of people suddenly charged toward them. Chen An spoke, "The people are here. Just go ask them directly." A tough-looking man in the crowd raised his voice and asked, "Who are you people? What are you doing here?" Mu Lin Shuo and Bai Wai were about to retort when Chen An quickly stepped forward to stop them. "Hey, hold on, let me speak. You two acting like this is no different than calling me Xiao Bai Jian. May I ask, respected elders, what happened here? Why do we need to block the road?" At that moment, an elderly man with a beard all around appeared from somewhere and pointed at the road. "This road leads to the mountain peak. Do you want to go up there?" Chen An hastily replied, "Yes, we." But the old man interrupted, "What are you dreaming about on the mountain? The last time someone went up there, after coming down, they brought back a monster." After hearing the old man's words, Chen An's curiosity was piqued, and he asked, "Old man, what exactly happened?" "We came here to investigate." Bai Wai took her police badge out of her pocket and said sternly, "We are government officials, so please feel free to tell us what happened here." The old man finally trusted them and recounted the events. A few days ago, a group of people dressed in black also went up the mountain. Shortly after, there was a loud noise from the mountain. When the man in black left, a monster appeared on the mountain. All the livestock we were grazing on the mountain have since disappeared. A woman in the crowd, crying desperately, said, "My people, including my father, went up the mountain, but none of them came back." Bai Wai spoke up to reassure everyone. "We will go up the mountain to investigate. For now, please return to the village and wait for our news." All three of them were now on the mountain. Mu Lin Shuo bent down to grab a handful of soil to feel the ground, which was relatively soft here. "Did you too notice the clear marks on the ground?" Chen An volunteered, "I'll go up higher to take a look." With that, he leaped to the highest point to check the situation and saw an enormous black hole. Wai screamed, "Is that it?" She continued in a worried tone, Could it be the giant python? He pondered for a moment and then concluded theoretically it shouldn't be possible. The barrier of the cave shouldn't disappear. He raised his voice. Hurry, let's go take a look. Reaching the enormous cave, he used his eye of clairvoyance to observe what was hidden under the hole. After observing for a while, he discovered that it was dynamite. Someone was trying to destroy the barrier. The poison inside the barrier had already dissipated considerably. In the midst of confusion, suddenly a large shadow appeared behind them. Bai Wai trembled and spoke. No way? The three of them slowly turned their heads, and a massive, terrifying body stood before them. As expected, it was the creature of this place, the giant python. The giant python charged straight at where the three of them were standing. Chen An didn't hesitate and rushed to protect Mu Lin Shuo. Be careful. After shielding her, he suddenly remembered that he had forgotten all about Wai. Wai? He grabbed his saber and stood face to face with the monster. Wai, who had just been knocked down, was now struggling to get up, and she took the chance to scold him. Chen An, how could you forget about me? He hurriedly tried to explain his mistake. It's because you're so strong. And as for Lin Shuo, well, her body, isn't it a bit weaker? No, I mean, her bones are definitely strong. At that, Wai's eyes changed color, her blood boiling, and she hissed, you better think twice before you open your mouth again. She swung her arm carelessly and ended up punching the giant python. The pain was excruciating as she glared angrily at the three people. It was then that Wai realized she had overdone it. Chen An spoke up, reminding her, Lin Shuo, make sure you hide well. Wai, let's split up and run. With that, he charged forward, trying to distract the giant python to buy time for the two girls to escape in the other direction. The fool, each of them racing ahead with their own beasts, leaving a trail of smoke behind. He used his fire ability and hurled it at the giant python. Its skin seemed to be made of steel, and the flames hit it like concrete, but had no effect at all. Chen An was also surprised. The fire from Wan Yuan Mountain doesn't cause any damage to you. How is it that you don't seem afraid at all? He had been running for a while and was getting tired. Finally, he decided to make his move. If that's the case, I'll have to use your own weapon against you. Saying that, he threw two scales from the giant python back at it. But again, there was no reaction. It remained completely calm. Chen had never felt so helpless. He even knew how to level up. Not knowing what else to do, he kept throwing more scales at it. The giant python didn't back down either. Every time he threw one, it dodged, neither of them yielding. Chen An sighed inwardly. It's really fast. He refused to give up and launched his final move, secret technique of the Iron Mountain Seal. But as soon as the technique was released, the beast knocked him flying. He thought to himself, the strength of this snake must have been reduced after leaving the demon realm, but even at this moment, I still can't defeat it. Damn it. The snake opened its mouth wide, full of sharp fangs about to devour him, when Wai suddenly lunged forward. She threw punch after punch at the giant python. Chen anxiously warned her, Wai, it's too dangerous. The giant python had become more ferocious than ever. It fixed its red, intimidating eyes on the two of them. He could feel the fury emanating from the snake. It seemed like this serpent really hated him. They had to find a way of escape quickly. At that moment, a hand grabbed Chen An's hand. It was none other than Mu Lin Shuo's. Using her invisibility technique, she led him away from the snake. As if sensing that they were trying to escape, the snake swung its tail and accidentally struck Lin Shuo's back. She cried out in pain. He rushed over to catch her. Is Lin Shuo okay? Though in great pain, she gritted her teeth and said, Don't stop, I can still walk. Let's hurry and get out of here. Seeing her stubbornness, he couldn't bring himself to argue. Don't talk anymore. I'll transfer some of my spiritual energy to you, so just focus on moving. Meanwhile, Wai was now facing the snake alone when suddenly a hand tightly grasped her wrist, pulling her out of danger. It was Chen An. Mu Lin Shuo, however, looked visibly irritated. So, you really care about her, huh? And you even asked for my opinion? Chen answered awkwardly, Come on, we're all part of the same team. At this point, the giant python seemed to be trying to retreat somewhere. Chen An was puzzled. Wait, where is it going? Then he suddenly realized something and shouted, This is bad. Chen An was now observing the giant python's every move. It was moving along the path they had taken to climb the mountain. Suddenly, it dawned on him, and he said to the two women, Its target is the village at the foot of the mountain. We cannot let it get down the mountain. Mu Lin Shuo exclaimed, The snake has switched targets so quickly. What? What do you mean? Chen An had now revealed himself, shouting loudly to attract its attention. The large loach, your grandfather is here. Hearing a sound from behind, the giant python turned its head to look. He was about to charge forward when Wai stopped him. Seeing that she had escaped from Lin Shuo's invisibility skill, he was surprised and asked, How did you? YY immediately silenced him with a sharp response. I'm a government agent. Protecting workers is my responsibility. Seeing the two of them like this, Mu Linshuo also had no choice but to reveal himself. These two idiots. The two beautiful girls were now ready to fight alongside him. Chen An, feeling empowered, grinned widely and said, "Haha, with the two of you by my side, even if I die, I won't feel wronged." When he put his arm around her shoulder, YY was a bit surprised. As for Lin Shuo, upon hearing his words, his face showed clear displeasure. What nonsense are you talking about at a time like this? At that moment, he suddenly shoved both of them away, standing alone to face the giant python. Lin Shuo anxiously shouted, "Boss!" YY was no less frantic, "Chen An, you bastard!" While the three of them were in turmoil, the snake suddenly stopped. Chen An wondered, why did it stop? He thought to himself, it's looking at something. Could it be a more terrifying demon beast? At that moment, a cute ferret appeared out of nowhere. He was puzzled, wondering why such a small creature could make the giant python look up like that. Suddenly, the ferret's eyes turned a sharp, glowing red and gradually transformed into a massive beast, entirely different from its original form. Chen was stunned after witnessing the scene just now. What kind of joke is this? The beast suddenly charged toward the giant python. The two of them fought fiercely, so much so that they completely ignored the three humans standing nearby. The giant python was completely at a disadvantage against the massive creature. The beast wrapped itself around it and tossed it high into the air. The giant python landed exactly where the two girls were standing. They screamed in panic. Taking advantage of its victory, the beast charged forward, ready to deliver a fatal blow to the snake. In that moment, the snake recovered, coiled around the beast's legs, and tossed it to the ground. The beast, surprisingly weak, was knocked motionless by the throw. The snake opened its massive mouth wide as if preparing to swallow the beast whole. Chen An suddenly realized the situation was critical. Shit, this snake wants to eat it alive. He quickly pulled out his gun and fired 3 shots straight at its mouth. The giant python let out a painful scream from the shots. However, the 3 bullets didn't seem to affect it much. Chen An immediately pulled out a grenade. Humph, then take this grenade. Mu Linshuo, seeing the grenade in his hand, thought he was planning to make a desperate last stand against the monster. She panicked and shouted, "Shit, is the boss really going to go down with the monster?" Bai YY was just as worried, screaming, "Don't!" Ignoring the cries of the 2 girls, he accelerated toward the giant python. But suddenly, why was he flying over its head? He wondered and looked back, only to see the beast had regained consciousness and was now holding the giant python's head, pulling it down while opening its mouth wide, full of sharp, foul-smelling teeth, ready to bite down hard on the snake's body. The giant python gradually fell down, and the 3 of them joyfully shouted, "We've won." When Chen An saw the giant python take its last breath, he approached to observe its flesh. The skin of the giant python was incredibly tough. Wouldn't it be unbeatable if he could store it in his space and craft a set of armor for each member of the team? Suddenly, the giant python's corpse shrank. Chen An wondered, why is it shrinking? All of a sudden, the body of the fierce beast also began to shrink back to its original form. Chen An couldn't help but question, why are you shrinking too? He rushed over to check on the beast. Fortunately, it seemed like it was just exhausted and unconscious. He sighed in relief. Chen An placed the beast into his backpack, not forgetting to say, "Hero, please don't let anything happen to you." After finishing, he cheerfully said, "There are so many monsters here. Once you recover, I'll take you back there." At that moment, Chen An was lost in his happiness and didn't notice the danger approaching from behind. YY suddenly charged forward and kicked him, angrily shouting, "It's fine with it, but what about you?" He was caught off guard by her kick, which made him groan in pain. At that moment, a clod of earth flew straight at his head. He yelled out, "It's no one else. That clod of earth was thrown by Mu Linshuo." She glared at him, shouting, "If you dare push us again, I'll kill you, got it?" Chen An, still reeling from the aftershocks of the pain, reluctantly spoke up, "Well, it's just that I didn't want the 2 of you to die along with me." Linshuo and YY sharply shouted in his face, "Shut up." Sensing the tense atmosphere, he quickly changed the subject. "By the way, when I looked down at the bottom of the cave earlier, I vaguely saw something that looked like the remnants of explosives. I want to go down there and check it out." YY looked down into the depths of the cave and suddenly said, "That hole is at least 100 meters deep. How could you possibly see anything at the bottom?" Chen An proudly responded, "It's only a few 100 meters. My eye of clairvoyance can see for thousands of miles." The 2 women glared at him, asking, "What do you mean by that? What clairvoyance?" Realizing he had misspoken, Chen An stammered, It's just the eye of Stonepath, you know. Clairvoyance is just a homophone for throwing in that sense." "What do you mean clairvoyance? Who's clairvoyant? YY asked, noticing something was off about his behavior. Seeing the concern in her eyes, Chen An changed the subject. There are many dangerous creatures down there. You two should stay up here. YY, fuming, retorted. Are you seriously going to leave us behind again? At that moment, Lin Shuo shot a displeased look at YY and said, You're really useless. How could you not even find a stick? Not to be outdone, YY shot back. Well, what about you? What do you have that's so great? You're as fragile as paper. Lin Shuo's expression changed, and he began to boast, I can cloak myself. Don't forget that I just saved you from death 100 times over. No mouth was willing to be outdone by the other. The two glared at each other, their eyes filled with a murderous intent. Seeing the situation was getting tense, Chen An intervened to break the silence. All right. Both of you can be very helpful. Just calm down and carefully follow me down below. The two women obeyed and tightly gripped his arms, though their eyes still held a dangerous glint. Chen An held onto both of them and flew swiftly down to the cave below. As soon as they landed, he rushed over to the scattered debris, examined it for a while, and then said, There are no signs or markings resembling any symbols on the debris. Mu Lin Shuo immediately recognized what lay on the ground and quickly said to him, This is a type of gunpowder specially made by Haizu's special third group. It can explode 3 times consecutively, with a blast power several times greater than ordinary explosives when compared by the same quantity. After hearing her explanation, Chen asked, puzzled, Are you saying that Enzu's people sabotaged this barrier? Just as the three of them were still unclear, a bomb suddenly fell right next to them. Wei rushed over to shield Chen An, and he anxiously shouted, Wei, you've been hit too hard. She let out a groan. I'm almost out of strength, and collapsed to the ground. Witnessing this scene, Chen An growled in anger, using his eye of clairvoyance to scan above to see who was responsible for this act. The bull exploded 3 times in a row before finally stopping. He didn't pay attention and continued looking up when a familiar figure appeared. He angrily shouted, So it's you, Enzu. What bad luck to run into those Dan Enzu scoundrels again, as expected. They're here to cause trouble. Chen An gritted his teeth, his face filled with indignation. Daring to hurt YY, you will have to face the consequences. The explosives from Enzu's brute were still flying through the air, rapidly approaching Chen An and his companions. This time, the danger was real. The destructive power of these bombs was enough to make even the American B-52 tremble. Realizing the imminent threat, Chen An immediately commanded, Help YY get inside, but don't go too far. This is the heroic rescue of a beautiful woman from the romantic legend. Chen An stretched out both arms, using his body to shield the others, creating an opportunity for Lin Shuo and YY to move to a safer spot. He also reminded them not to go too far. In this barrier, countless dangers lurked, and with YY already injured because of him, she wouldn't have much strength left. Seeing this, he couldn't feel at ease. Though worried about Chen An, Lin Shuo couldn't ignore YY, who was growing weaker by the moment. Moreover, she was just a woman with limited strength, unable to contribute much to him. Therefore, with a worried expression, she reluctantly looked back at Chen An and said loudly, You have to be careful too. Go ahead, I'll handle things here. Truly worthy of being a strong and powerful man. As for you, Enzu, you've picked the wrong fight. At this moment, Chen An was filled with rage. He gathered his internal energy and with incredible speed, he dashed forward at the speed of light like a war god, heading straight towards the bombs that were zooming towards him, preparing for a direct confrontation to destroy them. But as he got closer, danger struck. Chen An realized something was off. Although the barrier had been destroyed, the restrictions on his supernatural abilities still remained. This was going to be disastrous. Chen An was repelled by a counterattack and had to retreat. It was impossible to predict everything, no matter how skilled or insightful he was. It had taken him 4 breaths to reach the store, but with the intensity of the artillery fire like this, there was no chance of escaping. Those Enzu guys really knew how to play dirty. Another bomb exploded. Chen An gritted his teeth, covering his face with his hand, trying to endure the effects of the explosion. A thought echoed in his mind. Boss, you have to hang in there. Don't let yourself be blown to bits. I know the chances of survival are slim, but we've come this far, there's no turning back now. All we can do is hold on and hope for the best. Meanwhile, YY's condition was worsening, rapidly deteriorating. She had no strength left, and her breathing became irregular, writhing in pain. At that moment, Lin Shuo panicked, turning around and shouting, Boss, her breathing is getting faster. I don't know if she's sick. Indeed, it is a struggle to know who your true friends are. While it's easy to argue over small things on ordinary days, it is in moments like these that we truly understand each other's hearts. Upon hearing Lin Shuo say this, Chen An was extremely worried, but he didn't know what to do. What should I do now? I can't just let her stay like this. After all, Wai Wei got hurt because she took the blow for me. Seeing her like this, he felt guilty and uneasy. While lost in thoughts about Wai Wai, Chen An suddenly looked up and anxiously stared at the newly exploded shells. Ah, they're done firing the shells already? It turned out that was all there was to it. He had thought it was something more serious. Just when he thought he was escaping disaster, he noticed something in the distance rapidly approaching him. How dare they come here? Chen embraced himself, preparing to give it a powerful strike it would never forget. Wait, what's that? Chen An was utterly confused when he saw the strange object no longer heading towards him, but instead falling straight to the ground. At this moment, sweat poured down his face as he couldn't believe his eyes. What's going on here? Is this a human bomb? This is unreal. There are just so many people from Enzu. On the ground lay two soldiers completely wrapped in black cloth, each struck by an arrow. Seeing this, Chen An suddenly realized something. Chen An, filled with joy, turned to look behind him, his eyes sparkling with a broad smile as if he had just figured something out. Ha ha, that's right. It's Wang Bao and the beautiful Zhu Zhu. They must have been standing on the nearby cliff, and they arrived just at the right moment. Wang Bao had a cool expression, holding a bow and arrow in his hand. Zhu Zhu gently smiled, her eyes full of pride as she looked at the two objects that had just been hit by Wang Bao's arrow. Both she and he were concerned about Chen An. I wonder what they threw down there. Are they trying to ambush us? Could it be that Chen An is down there? Maybe they're attacking him. While standing there in confusion, they saw three things rapidly flying toward them. Wang Bao and Zhu Zhu were startled and completely shocked, overwhelmed by confusion. Wang Bao, Zhu Zhu, what are you two doing here? It turned out to be Chen An and his group. One hand was supporting Wai Wai, while the other was tightly holding Lin Shuo. Seeing the two of them, Chen An was thrilled and excited. When Zhu Zhu saw Chen An, the person she had been longing for every night, she couldn't help but feel immense joy. Her face brightened as she rushed to ask him, Chen An, bro, are you okay? As she spoke, she ran toward him. Chen An looked down anxiously at Wai Wai in his arms, sweat pouring down as she groaned in pain and discomfort. Seeing this, Zhu Zhu also stopped. Wang Bao spoke up. Zhu Zhu, young lady, said she wanted to talk to the boss about a job application, but she found out both you and Miss Mu were not there. She also heard you were about to go on an adventure, and fearing something might happen to you, she asked me to contact Meng brother to come here and find you. Well, that's it. Wang Bao, your mouth runs too fast. You haven't even heard what the girl has to say, but you've already spilled everything, making her stand there frozen, as if she's stuck in glue with no escape. Wang Bao, filled with anger and resentment, recounted his achievement to his boss. We ran into these guys. They just started shooting at us without saying a word. I couldn't hold myself back and ended up shooting them. Hey, Wang Bao, you're something else. Who ambushes someone and gives a warning first? What's the surprise in that? Good thing you were there just in time. If not, we'd have been roasted down there. Chen An, deeply grateful to Wang Bao for what had just happened, smiled brightly in praise. You saved all three of us. Chen An's expression turned serious. The barrier has been damaged, though. More dangerous beasts will be able to break through it and enter the human world. The harm they caused to the villagers at the foot of the mountain is just a matter of when, not if. We need to find a way to fix the barrier. But right now, I have no idea what to do. This is really worrying. Lost in thought, Chen An suddenly had an idea. Ah, that's right. Isn't that guy good at making lids or something? Brilliant. Even with a problem like this, you figured it out. No wonder your boss, Chen An. An hour later, a sleek top-tier helicopter flew toward Chen An and Wang Bao. Sure enough, it was the guy, and he came fast. A balding man, with only a patch of hair on his head, white hair, thick glasses, the kind you'd expect on a researcher, his face beating with excitement. Hello, Boss Chen. What can I do for you? Chen An happily asked, Old Song, can your big cover fit over this hole? Upon hearing this, Old Song immediately turned towards his helicopter and ordered, People inside, don't start the engine, we're heading back. Chen An's face turned as dark as the sky before a super typhoon hits, and he was also furious. Old Song, is this how you treat your savior? You really want to be beaten, don't you? I'm so irritated with this old man. Old Song then pulled something pink out of his pocket, looking cool as he threw it towards Chen An, saying, This is for you, it's for you. He was truly a domineering person, but what else is new? Chen An was just someone who liked to use force, nothing special. Besides, he had saved the old man's life before. Chen quickly caught the object with one hand, happily responding, thanks. He thought the old man would run off, but it seemed like there was some effect. The effort he put into saving him before hadn't been in vain. He tossed the pink ball into the hole in the barrier. A purple light emitted, enveloping the mouth of the hole. Chen An let out a sigh of relief. The current danger had been resolved. Future Chen An appeared behind him, praising him as a genius but questioning whether he was planning to use this mundane object to replace the sealing barrier. If a proper sealing object could be found, Future Chen An's face darkened, and he continued anxiously, "This is the gateway for the demon realm to invade the human world. Just imagining it is already dangerous. I don't know how that day will turn out, or who will help us destroy those evil, monstrous creatures." Chen An's expression turned serious as he spoke. If this place becomes the gateway to the demon realm, then Yin Chang will be the first to face its calamity. "How can I restore the barrier? Do I need to use spirit power?" he asked. The future Chen An replied, "You will use a little bit of your spirit power to repair the barrier. That's like trying to buy a Ferrari with 10 yuan. Do you remember the stone pillar that sealed the power? The one you saw in the treasure of the Chen family before?" He paused for a moment and then responded, "I remember." "Then, isn't the stone pillar the source of the barrier's energy?" The future Chen An continued to ask. "Yes, but also no," he replied. The future Chen An explained, "The sealing artifact isn't just the stone pillar. There are other kinds as well. We call them sacred artifacts. You have to find a sacred artifact if you want to repair the barrier." Hearing this, he sighed in relief and said, "You scared me there. So finding the sacred artifact is the solution. What you're saying sounds like the end of the world." The future Chen An continued, "There are only a few sacred artifacts. If you take one to another place, the barrier in that place will weaken and eventually be destroyed." "Hey, why aren't you worried anymore?" he said, slightly annoyed. "The way you talk is completely beyond me. I really hate those people who act all mysterious and divine. So what am I supposed to do in the end?" The future Chen An hesitated before answering. "I haven't figured it out either. Right now, we can only temporarily borrow the sacred artifacts for the wilderness. Once I think of the exact locations of the artifacts, I'll give you a map. But you also have to be ready to lead people to fight against the demon race." Having said that, the future Chen An dissipated, disappearing into the air, leaving him to fight with his doubts. Then he reminded himself not to scare himself. Suddenly, it seemed like he remembered something. "Oh, right. I almost forgot. I just used my backpack to block a bunch of highly explosive missiles. I wonder how Ling Ji is doing? Don't tell me he's dead already." He walked over to where Ling Ji was and found that Ling Ji's body had been battered and bruised. Chen An slowly approached and softly called out, "Ling Ji." At the sound of his voice, Ling Ji's eyes snapped open, sharp and terrifying. Chen An broke into a cold sweat and quickly asked, "Hey, I'm just saying Ling Ji. It wasn't me, it was the curse." Before he could finish his sentence, Ling Ji lunged at him, wildly chasing him down. Chen An could only panic and run, shouting, "Run fast! Ling Ji has gone crazy." Ling Ji then charged toward Mu Lin Shuo, Bai Wai, and Wang Bao. Mu Lin Shuo, terrified, screamed and asked him, "What did you do to him? Why is he like this?" Bai Wai also spoke up, "This guy can even kill a giant python, and we're just us." Chen An scratched his head and replied, "I didn't do anything. I just used my backpack to block missiles fired by those Nzu guys, but I forgot that I was still carrying this boss on my back." At this point, Wang Bao raised his bow and complimented him. "Not bad, huh? This badger is huge. Sounds like it could feed us for a few days." Hearing Wang Bao's intention to send the badger away, he couldn't hold back and went over to give him a hit, saying, "What are you doing? It's the one that saved my life." After speaking, he turned around to remind, "Young lady, be careful. It's dangerous." At this point, the badger had approached Zhu Zhu. Its expression looked fierce and frightening. Chen An, worried, said to Zhu Zhu, "Don't move. Whatever you do, don't move." Bai Wei, who was beside them, also said, "Wait, look at it." At this moment, the badger seemed to soften its anger when standing in front of Zhu Zhu, and she gently touched the tip of its nose. Seeing that Zhu Zhu was unharmed, he breathed a sigh of relief. Zhu Zhu held the badger in her hands, smiling as she said, "So you're just a little badger. How cute." Seeing that she was fine, Chen An sighed in relief and silently thought, almost forgot that demon beasts seemed to really like Zhu Zhu. He also, feeling concerned, walked over and asked, "Zhu Zhu, do you want to keep it?" She was a bit surprised and asked back, "Can I?" He asked while thinking right now there are many enemies against him and Zhu Zhu doesn't have physical abilities. Plus, he can't always be there to protect her. If she had this fierce creature as a bodyguard, no one below the 3rd rank would be able to approach her. Then he responded to Zhu Zhu's question, "I was planning to take it with me, but this beast doesn't like just anyone like it likes you. If you take care of it responsibly, this can be considered your first mission after joining the group." Zhu Zhu happily responded, "If you say so, then I'll gladly accept this mission. Thank you, Chen and bro." After that, he turned to Wang Bao and said, "Wang Bao, could I take a look at your bow and arrows for a moment?" He picked up his bow and examined it, saying, "This must be made from the tendons of a mutated beast, right?" Wang Bao smiled and replied, "The last time I went hunting, I ran into an ugly blind bear, but it was incredibly powerful and destroyed my previous bow and arrows. After I killed it, I used its parts to make a new set. Not to mention this bow is way easier to use than the previous one." Chen An asked further, "So, you've shot arrows with this bow, haven't you?" Wang Bao answered, "Yes, the arrows from those beasts fly really slowly." Hearing this, Chen An was stunned, standing frozen in place, thinking that he must have been terribly mistaken. He really was the most powerful long-range assistant I know. The scene shifted to a modern high-rise building where a mysterious figure wearing a mask approached Shu Tianming and reported, "I've discovered the secret behind Chen An's strength." Tu Tianming's face lit up with excitement as he spoke. "Tell me, what is it?" The masked figure began to explain, "I've been wondering how someone of Chen An's age could cultivate to such a state in such a short time, especially after the mutation occurred. So we assigned people to monitor his actions. Not long ago, he went to a deep mountain. Do you think there's something there?" Su Tianming grumbled, "Stop beating around the bush. Just tell me already." The figure continued, "It's an entire forest of spirit fruits." Su Tianming was stunned and asked, "An entire forest?" He immediately responded, "I once asked him what kind of genius he was, and it turns out he's someone with resources. I've gathered all the spirit fruits. Our subordinates from Enzu have also gained strength. This operation cost us a lot of people, but it was still quite worthwhile." Tu Tianming continued, "Why remove the casualties in terms of manpower like that? Did Chen An ambush your people?" He replied, "My people discovered a strange deep cave outside the spirit fruit forest. Fearing an ambush, one of them threw explosives into the cave first, but unexpectedly, a giant snake as large as a train rushed out. In my opinion, the spirit fruits in the cave must have matured more to cause the snake to transform into such a giant monster. Unfortunately, this giant snake is too strong, and my people simply couldn't injure it, so we couldn't explore the bottom of the cave." Su Tianming was puzzled for a moment and asked, "So, are you here to seek me out for the people or the resources?" He responded, "Dealing with Chen An is not a unilateral action by our High Zoo. We can't let only us be the ones to sacrifice." "Isn't that right, Boss Chu?" But High Zoo is also not a group that turns the other cheek. His face grew serious as he said, "Chen An first cornered me, that killed 2 of my generals. This grudge is irreconcilable. I just hope Boss Chu can help me restrain the Som family. I don't want to fight both the future group and the Som family at the same time." Su Tianming asked him, "So how do you plan to deal with that giant python?" He let out a loud laugh and said, "What does it have to do with me? It's just that the villages below will suffer disaster and die like a swarm of ants." Shu Tianming sighed and then tried to advise, "It's better to respect human life a little. But isn't Chen An someone who always thinks he's right? Surely he won't let those monsters grow freely. If they can stand up to Chen An, then that's fine." The scene changed and Wang Bao's bow shot with great force, piercing through a plastic can. Chen An, intrigued, complimented him, "Nice, this long-range attack is at its maximum, right?" Wang Bao smiled and replied, "It's nothing really." But Chen An admired him a lot. Suddenly, his phone buzzed with a notification that I had drawn a map to help mark the locations of those sacred objects. He glanced at the phone, squinted his eyes in displeasure, and said, "Although my drawing is terrible, how come after 10 years you haven't made any progress at all?" The future Chen An responded, "It's not that you didn't lay a foundation when you were young, and now you're blaming me. I've taken a look, and this small island in the Pacific Ocean is the most suitable target right now. Even if the sacred objects that were taken, there's still an ocean in between, and the demon beasts won't pose an immediate threat to humans." Chen An concluded these thoughts and responded, "Got it. Looks like I need to form my own suicide squad." He then walked over to where everyone was and announced, "Everyone here is familiar to me, so I want to speak frankly. This cave is the entrance to the demon realm. Here is the translation you requested. The situation is like this. I need to form a team and go to the island to retrieve the sacred artifacts and rebuild the barrier for the cave. However, this journey will be very dangerous." At this moment, Wang Bao expressed his opinion. "Boss, I want to go. My home is in a village nearby, and if anything happens here, my family will definitely be in danger, so I am definitely going." Chen An, trusting him, said, "With you joining, I'll be able to create a better long-range weapon for you in the future." Bai Wai and Mu Lin Shu also raised their hands to show their agreement. "I'm going too." The 2 women exchanged judgmental glances when they saw that the other was also eager to go. Seeing this, Chen An hesitated for a moment before saying, Why, you're an official. I haven't thought about telling the old man about this yet. You'll need to come up with a reason to tell him." He then turned to Mu Lin Shu and said, "As for Lin Shu, you will be responsible for all matters of the future corporation. If you leave." Mu Lin Shu responded, "If humanity is doomed, if anything happens to you, boss, What's the point of keeping the future corporation, right? He found her reasoning valid, so he smiled and replied, "You're right, I suppose." Suddenly, Juju spoke up, "I want to go too." He immediately stopped her, "Juju, but when the time comes, we won't be able to protect you. The journey is fraught with danger, and it's better if you don't come. Don't you want to join the future corporation? Isn't it better for you to help me manage the corporation instead?" Juju countered, "You forget Miss Moo's words? I have to go." Her words, combined with the angry demeanor of the beast in her arms, made Juju fearfully agree. "Oh, I forgot about your war beast, didn't I? All right, you can go." Chen An continued, "The skin of the giant python is so tough that ordinary firearms can't harm it. Here's the plan. I'll make a set of armor for each of you." With that, he used his energy to create armor for everyone. Witnessing his generosity, Wang Bao couldn't help but exclaim, "You are truly too generous." Noticing that the armor seemed a bit lacking, Bai Wai spoke up, "Chen An, is it really necessary to make it look like this?" He responded awkwardly, "It's because the giant python shrank after being killed, so with what we have, this is all I could make." Seeing that Bai Wai wasn't satisfied, Mu Lin Shuo mocked, "I'm a capitalist, so I'm not afraid to wear less. If you're bothered by it, you can just stay behind." Bai Wai replied angrily, "What's wrong with my figure compared to yours?" Zuzu didn't react much and simply responded gently, "If Chen and Bro likes it, then I have no problem." He excitedly declared, "Great, so our suicide squad has officially been formed." The scene shifted to a busy street with cars of various sizes moving about. Wang Mang was driving and waiting for him to go somewhere. He couldn't help but complain a little, "Boss, do you think I'm too weak to take along with you?" Shen replied, "Your abilities have only just awakened and you lack combat experience. This mission could very well involve dealing with mutated beasts. If your powers aren't usable, it could be very dangerous. Plus, I need someone I trust to help manage things at the company." Upon hearing Shannon's trust in him, Wang Mang cheerfully responded, "Boss, don't worry. I'm not great at business, but managing things at home is definitely my specialty." Shannon was taken to a place that was truly luxurious and modern. As soon as he got out of the car, he encountered something that made him pause for a moment. It was the sight of Su Wuxai waving and calling out to him, "Chen An." She cheerfully walked up to him and said, "Come on over. Let's officially introduce you to the family." This sudden change of direction caught Chen off guard. He stood there in a daze for a moment before saying, "Ah." This caused Su Dong Wang to come over and say, "Chen, my friend, please understand. My daughter has been indulged, so she doesn't know any rules." He forced a smile and replied, "It's fine." As soon as Su Wuxai saw Mu Lin Xu and Bai Wai getting out of the car, she suddenly flustered and said, "Oh, Chen, my dad wants to talk to you. Let's go quickly." Su Dong Wang and Chen entered the house to talk. He took the lead and said, "This time, I'm looking for you to hear your views on the future situation. The outside world is like this every day, and it makes me feel uneasy." Chen immediately responded, "I'm afraid, Uncle, you've asked the wrong person. With my limited experience and almost no social skills, I wouldn't dare to casually judge the situation. However, my perspective is human-centered." He was somewhat surprised and asked, "Human-centered? What do you mean?" Chen An explained, "If cultivation is possible, then why not let everyone cultivate? If there's already a method for it, why not let more people know about it? Those who practice cultivation should not only focus on their own growth, but also think about how to increase the strength of their subordinates." He responded with a seemingly satisfied expression, "Indeed, it's youth." Then he thought to himself, Chen An's broad-mindedness and vision were truly commendable. If he had had such a mindset when he was young, his achievements wouldn't have stopped where they were, but then again, it's easier said than done. He smiled and replied, "Perhaps." Chen and then silently reflected, anyone who heard this opinion would probably find it laughable. But if humans couldn't enhance their strength, they wouldn't survive when the demon realm invaded. By then, would martial arts techniques still be of any use? A moment later, he and Su Dong Wang stepped outside. Su Wuxei, who had been waiting outside, was already fuming with anger. She reproached him, "Chen An, you really know how to deceive people." Surprised by the unprovoked scolding, he asked, "Huh? What did I do?" She sighed in disappointment and complained, "I heard YY say you guys are going on an adventure, and you even prepared combat clothes for them. I want to go too, I really do." Chen replied, "This isn't an operation to fight some gangsters in Yin Chang. It's an expedition across the seas, which means it's extremely difficult. A great celebrity like you couldn't possibly go, could you? I remember director Zhang Damao was asking you to film a movie, wasn't he?" She lowered her head sadly and said, "Actually, filming or whatever doesn't matter. I know I can't really be of any help." Seeing the awkward situation, he said, "How about this? I just won't take you along on this mission. In the future, I will call you before any mission's okay. As for the combat outfit, if you don't mind." Saying that, he handed her a suit and continued, "The materials are limited, so this is the best I can do." She took the outfit, tried it on, and said, "Isn't it just the material being short? What's the big deal if it feels like a movie costume? At most, I'll have my dedicated costume designer modify it, and next time, I can wear it and help you fight." He paused for a moment, surprised by Suo Wuxi's sudden change. "I seen things. Just a moment ago, she was upset." At that moment, as he walked out, he saw Wang Bao and called out, "Wang Bao, I've made a special weapon for you. From now on, I'll need you to act as the sniper for our future operations." He handed the weapon to Wang Bao and continued, "It will save you time by bypassing the process of bending and setting the arrow, and it has a longer shooting range. You should practice with it well." Wang Bao took it, his face full of excitement, and said, "Nice. This is really cool." Mu Lin Shuo approached and asked, "Boss, when are we leaving?" Chen An replied, "No need to rush. I still need to settle some matters. And Zhu, this time I will destroy their fortress in Yincheng." Then he silently thought to himself, "The Song family can control pharmaceuticals, but it won't be easy for them with Zhu involved. As for the Su family, I don't want Suo Wuxi to be dragged into this mess. The government is currently just watching the show. In the end, we still have to rely on ourselves." She anxiously asked him again, "Do you want to wage war against the entire Zhu and Yincheng? They're not simple at all. You can't compare them to the Chen family. Anzu and Yincheng has 6 main departments, including security, assassination, drugs, public opinion interrogation, and intelligence." Mu Lin Shuo continued, "Anzu has a very clear division of labor. It's not easy to deal with them." Chen An responded seriously, "Do you think that if I don't deal with them, they'll let us go? I don't like being passive in a fight. Also, if I don't wipe them out, I won't be able to feel safe going out to sea." While they were talking, someone suddenly spoke up from behind them. "That's right, you want to take on Anzu? Count me in too." Mu Lin Shuo was surprised and said, "Poisonous snake." Poisonous snake walked over, placed the heavy wood down, and said, "Boss, I've recovered. If we're going to fight Anzu, you definitely have to count me in." He responded happily, "All right, with this kind of determination, let's go together." Mu Lin Shuo sighed and lamented, "Well, when it comes to familiarity with Anzu, no one can compare to me and Poisonous Snake." Then she confidently declared, "I'm the trump card in 5 assassination cases, and Poisonous Snake is the elite of the 3 sought-after medicinal herbs. For this operation, we'll be the ones leading it." He nodded in agreement and said, "All right, this operation will be the first time our team works together, and we are preparing for the upcoming battle." The luxury car sped along the roads, showing no signs of stopping. The sunlight reflected off of it, making it shine brightly. A voice from inside the car spoke, "The Deep Mountain operation team still hasn't made contact." The man inside the car, with silver hair and wearing a mask that made it difficult to see his face, spoke in a panic, "Sorry, boss." The voice of the man on the other end of the line came through, "Is there something I should know, something you need to report?" Yesterday, the operation team reported seeing several people enter the Deep Mountains, including the Mu Lin Shuo team. The suspected leader is Chen An. The man with the silver hair became even more panicked, now filled with anger. His hand tightened around his smartphone, as if ready to crush it. The boss shouted, "Why didn't you report this information to me sooner?" The man with the silver hair, trembling, replied, "I'm really sorry. I plan to deal with them first, then report to you." The man was left speechless, unable to say anything further. "You'd better be ready to die." The tense atmosphere was finally broken. "Chen An, so it's you?" "The road is blocked. The cars are lined up behind one another, forced to stop because of the traffic light. In a nearby red car, a couple was lounging inside. The man wore 2 gold chains around his neck. His girlfriend sitting beside him said, 'Look, that Maybach is my favorite car.' The man, showing no respect, responded, 'What car? Look at me instead.' The light turned green. They revved the engine as if ready for any kind of fun. The red car quickly sped ahead, leaving the traffic jam behind. In the black car behind, the people inside began to get frustrated. The silver-haired man in the car shouted, "What the hell are you trying to do?" "Apologies, boss. It's that car in front." As the red car overtook, its driver smugly raised a friendly finger to everyone behind. The person in the black car, now furious, ordered, "Speed up!" The 2 cars continued to compete to see who would get ahead, making it look like an actual race to outsiders. The 2 powerful vehicles raced down the road. The couple in the red car was slightly surprised to find someone catching up to them. How could a young, reckless person stand losing? What's going on? Not waiting for an answer, the young man saw the black car past him. What? The man inside wore a mask with an unknown identity, exuding killing intent, holding a handgun, the bullet inside just waiting to be fired, aimed straight at his head. Then, the terrifying car overtook the young man's vehicle. The silver-haired man put the gun back in his coat, leaned back in his seat, and coldly ordered the driver, "Head back to headquarters." The scene shifted to a rural village where small rays of sunlight pierced through the clouds, shining on the vast rice fields. The surrounding trees provided some relief from the heat, making it seem like an ideal place to relax. At his headquarters, the silver-haired man was talking with his subordinates. Members of the group ranked second rank or higher each received a spirit fruit, while the third-rank members got medicinal pills to enhance their spirit fruits. Get in range for me immediately. The subordinate complied. Understood, boss. In a dark corner, the man was thinking about something sinister. Chen An said, if you dare go this far, I won't leave you alive to return. Chen An was standing in a corner, sneezing as if he sensed something. Someone must be cursing me, thought to himself. Chen An wiped his nose and asked the girl beside him, are you sure? The headquarters of Enzu is here, right? The girl replied, yes. They had arrived in a rather remote rural area. It was only natural for Chen An to have doubts. The ground was covered in mud. Chen An accidentally stepped on it and shook his leg to get rid of the excess mud. The girl beside him confirmed, that's right, we are standing on the headquarters of Enzu. The houses here were large and there were even farms, so they were quite spread out. The village was essentially the entrance to the lower levels, forming the perimeter of Enzu's territory. Chen An exclaimed, this is really surprising. The man beside him continued right after that, it's Enzu. If they don't know what light it is, they'll hide underground like this, boss. They approached the entrance, puzzled. But why is there no one guarding this place? Not even a dog or a cat in sight. Then, out of nowhere, a group of people dressed in black cloaks and wearing masks suddenly appeared. From their appearance, it was clear they were good people. These individuals had emerged from the ground. The girl with purple hair beside him sighed, boss, your mouth is really powerful, huh? What should we do now? The people in black cloaks were all holding large guns as if ready to shoot the three of them to pieces if they made a move. An elderly man somewhere held a microphone and shouted, Chen An and Zhu, we don't want to become enemies with you. Just hand over the two traitors, Mu Lin Shuo and Poisonous Snake, and I'll let you go, the man beside Chen An said with slight concern. Boss, think about it for a moment, he added. Yeah, over 10 of them, huh? That's an average of how many per person? Chen An sneered coldly, and as for the speed of the bullet, he shouted, have you really thought this through? There's still enough time. He then raised 2 fingers and pointed them at the group. Chen, and bare hands against steel, raised 3 fingers, forming a gun shape, and aimed it at the group of mysterious black-clad men, leaving them stunned. Bang! Unexpectedly. The one he targeted suddenly collapsed, his eyeballs rolling back, leaving his condition unclear. The group panicked, looking at each other and asking, what's going on here? Without making them wait too long, Chen An fired several more shots, looking mischievous and completely fearless. The more he shot, the more intense it became, causing several of the black-clad men to fall unconscious, throwing the group into chaos. What's happening? What's wrong with you all? This is not the time to be sleeping. It turned out that what Chen had fired were arrows tipped with a sleeping agent, explaining why they collapsed into a deep, death-like sleep. The scene shifted to another location, a picturesque mountain forest. Wang Bao was walking with an air of smug satisfaction, lowing on his bow an arrow, appearing very serious. Call me the king of archers, he said. Witnessing the scene, Bai Wei couldn't help but sneer. The king of snipers is really impressive, isn't he? He suddenly became flustered, desperately trying to defend himself to save face. No, it's just the tone of voice. Seeing this, Zhu didn't say anything. She just covered her mouth and smiled, standing to the side, watching the drama unfold. Back to Chen An, he had single-handedly defeated the entire group, standing in the middle of the vast field. He arrogantly spoke, here's my response. Are you satisfied? Out of nowhere, a voice suddenly echoed. Chen An, are you seriously not showing any respect? He didn't let the other person finish. Frowning, he quickly retorted. Earlier, when Yam Master requested a fight, your group and Zhu attacked first with a sneak attack. Wouldn't that be considered disrespectful? The other person replied, this is the consensus of the experts in the organization. Before he could finish his sentence, Chen An cut him off. He shrugged and said, of course you could say that this wasn't your order. I have no proof. But Chen An looked down at the ground, his eyes gleaming, and smiled as he said, since you pulled the trigger on me with a sniper rifle from the tower, does that count as disrespectful? He thought to himself, truly unexpected. Humph. Well then, I'll return the favor in the same way he did. The scene shifted to a dark, secluded place full of trees. The person behind all of this was a man with white hair and air of mystery surrounding him, just like the others at this moment, except for the distinct aura and the finely crafted golden mask hovering half on his face. What's wrong with you? Despite his confusion, Chen An smirked and smugly explained, you're wondering how I know, right? Why don't you go find out about the relationship between Director Ho and me? I don't even know your name, but since you like wearing a golden mask, I'll just call you Na-Na. Na-Na. Just wait for me down there, alright? Upon hearing these arrogant words, the white-haired man could no longer contain his anger and slammed his fist on the table. His eyes sharpened, looking terrifying. Truly, provoking this big-faced man was something only Chen An would dare to do. Setting aside the wrath of the mysterious man, Chen An returned to his usual demeanor, casually stroking his chin and thought, "Oh, those words were really unlucky." In the cottage, the warm sunlight poured in, coloring the scene with a dreamy golden hue. However, in contrast to the peaceful surroundings, inside of the house felt tense. 3 young women were busily preparing themselves for battle. Mu Lin Shuo reminded, "It's time to gear up for combat. Follow me." In the blink of an eye, Mu Lin Shuo and Zhu Zhu had changed. The outfits, though somewhat bizarre and a bit garish, were fine. After all, if they liked wearing them, we didn't mind looking at them. The 3 quickly joined Chen An, and together they ventured into Enzu's lair. As they entered, Chen An, leading the group, couldn't help but express his surprise. "Oh, isn't anyone here to greet us?" Mu Lin Shuo, trailing behind, spoke up to remind, "The first door is a trap, so of course there's no one here. This place is full of dangers, and if we're not careful, we could end up finished." As soon as he finished speaking, out of nowhere, the poisonous snake appeared and charged towards them. "Boss, let me lead the way. We'll definitely get through quickly." Mu Lin Shuo didn't have time to stop him and could only urgently shout out 2 words, "Wait a moment." But as expected, he had triggered a trap. Poisonous snake broke into a cold sweat, panicked, and cried out, "Oh no!" Fortunately, Chen was quick enough to grab the collar of his shirt and pull him back, almost choking him in the process. At that moment, numerous rays of light appeared where he had stepped, capable of instantly taking his life. Poisonous snake fell backward, stuttering, "Thank you, boss." Mu Lin Shuo and Chen An bent down to observe the situation. She anxiously asked, "We betray the organization. Do you think Hai Zhu will still keep the previous methods of breaking the formation?" He answered seriously, "The mechanisms only activate when touched. Then what if we don't touch the ground?" She looked towards the door opposite and quickly dismissed the idea. "That's useless. This place is full of invisible rays. You can try it and see." Upon hearing this, he used his strength to create a branch. As soon as he threw it in, the invisible rays sliced the branch into pieces. Chen was shocked, sweating, and her eyes widened as she exclaimed, "Oh my god." Poisonous snake beside them added, "These mechanisms can't be broken unless they're open from the inside." After hearing that, he immediately turned around with a mischievous grin. "Of course, to break the mechanism, we should ask the master of the mechanisms, right?" With that, Chen An quickly picked up the phone and called Song Jong Ji. As soon as he appeared, the old man rushed to ask, "What does Boss Chen need from me now?" Not forgetting to add, "Oh, are you all wearing? You look like you're going to a play." The moment the words were spoken, Bai YY was immediately offended. "Oh no." Chen An quickly had to face the consequences. She dropped the punch and said, "It's all because you made these kinds of clothes for us." Wincing in pain, he responded to Song Jong Ji, "We are in a mechanical formation. Aren't you the master of mechanisms? Help us figure out how to break the formation." The old man focused on the phone screen, his face showing clear concern. "Don't tell me you're in the mechanism formation of Enzu." Chen An smiled and replied, yes, stop acting. Hurry up and tell us how to break this formation." "Break my foot." The old man suddenly yelled, "I'm showing you the phone. This is the design from my Master Yang's magnetic field teacher. The design from that old man has no way out. You won't be able to get out." Chen An looked at his hand, pondering, what kind of monkey business is this? Just scaring people. If we can't break the formation, we just turn around and leave. Hearing this harsh response, Song Jong Ji quickly countered, "No more excuses. You won't escape. There's no turning back now." At that moment, Chen An realized the gravity of the situation. He quickly turned his head, only to be stunned by the realization. The entrance was truly gone. His earlier arrogant attitude had completely disappeared. Sweat began to form on his forehead as he anxiously asked, "What should we do now? Is there absolutely no chance at all?" The old man remained expressionless, looking at the phone and replied, "To be honest, the killing formation of Master Yang's final design doesn't actively attack people. So you all stay there, insisting that there will be no problem. But the bad news is that you will either starve to death or suffocate." Those words successfully enraged Chen An. He imagined the scene where he could grab the old man's collar and curse him out. "Do you believe I'll beat you so hard that you'll crap yourself?" Song Jong Ji trembled and replied, "In battle, there's always the battle eye. Chen Boss, divine power and command. If we can find the battle eye and destroy it, we can break the formation." The old man touched the back of his head, but the battle eye could be hidden inside the walls in any corner. If we don't destroy it directly, it will trigger the self-destruction system, and by then, it'll all be done for. Chen An's face turned as cold as ice as he commanded, Then what does this battle eye look like? Describe it to me in detail. The old man shouted. The battle eye of the Yang Master's final form has distinct characteristics. It looks like the top of a spinning top. But what's the use of knowing that, unless you have eyes that can see through walls? Not letting the old man finish his sentence, Chen quickly hung up the phone, not forgetting to mutter a complaint. So many useless words. With that, Chen An turned around to reassure everyone. Don't worry, I will definitely get everyone out of here. Seeing the confused looks on the 4 people with him, he hurriedly asked, Hey, did you guys hear what Song Suzy said? Why are you all so quiet? Zhu clenched her fist, her face full of confidence. Because we all trust you, they replied. Chen An's eyes widened in surprise, and his facial muscles involuntarily relaxed. A mysterious glint flashed in his eyes as he turned around and smiled smugly. Good, I won't let any of you down. As soon as he finished speaking, he used his power to peer through the entire structure of the mechanism, repeatedly thinking in his mind, where is the tip of the spinning top? It didn't take long before a bright yellow spinning top appeared in front of his eyes. I found it. Chen raised his hand and pointed in a certain direction, then ordered Wang Bao, tell me the position and you aim and strike hard. It must be precise. Wang Bao was already in position, his face filled with determination. Watch me. With the crossbow in hand, he carefully aimed and fired. A loud explosion rang out, the bricks fell down, and dust filled the air. Wang Bao had successfully brought down a section of the wall. Mu Lin Shuo covered his mouth and asked curiously, Is it done? Chen An's eyes lit up once again, and he smiled in satisfaction. It's done. Just as he was about to enter, all 3 girls anxiously stopped him. Chen, being cautious, turned around and calmly reassured them. It's fine, the mechanism has been disarmed. Hey, why do you look like that? Mu Wai and Bai Lin Shuo quickly covered their faces, both blushing furiously. They were too embarrassed to finish their sentences. Earlier, Song Jong Ji had said, unless you have X-ray vision, you won't be able to find the battle eye. Mu Lin Shuo continued, so it's hard to believe that you really do have it. Under the intense gaze of the 2 pairs of eyes, along with the scolding that followed. Perverted hooligan. Chen An quickly waved his hands. Hey, listen to me, I'll explain. Zhu, who had appeared from nowhere, asked in confusion, What's going on with you guys? Both of them jumped in shock, breaking into a cold sweat. They rushed forward to shield Zhu, not forgetting to give Chen An a look filled with ill will. The atmosphere became unbearably awkward. Only Zhu was confused and didn't understand anything. Chen, with tears streaming down his face, weakly and desperately tried to regain his own reputation. It's really not what you think, he said. A sudden pain hit him, and he thought to himself, Oh no, this is bad. Chen An's entire body seemed to lose all strength, and he collapsed. Seeing this, Wang Bao rushed over to check on him. What's wrong, boss? He struggled to speak. I'm fine, just a bit exhausted. Let's go. He silently thought to himself, the spirit power drain from the transparent vision is too much. I hope the next challenge won't be as tough. But the next scene was even more grandiose than the last. The waiting hall was decorated in an extremely lavish manner, the kind of setup that immediately suggested it was no ordinary place. What was even more surprising was that in the waiting hall, a powerful army was standing by, waiting for them. Clad in armor, masks, gloves, and fully armed, they stood firm like warriors ready for battle. Mu Lin Shuo gasped in shock and yelled, What? 6 martial warriors? Chen An turned to her, puzzled. What's the 6 martial warriors? Why are you so scared? Her face grew more serious by the second. The 6 martial warriors are the guardians of the 5th floor. Why are they here? Upon seeing those people, Mu Lin Shuo couldn't help but panic. Why are they here? Chen An asked her, confused, What's the matter? Are they really that formidable? They look like a bunch of young punks playing with their machines. Her boss-like attitude made her unable to hold back from responding. The 6 martial warriors are one of the hidden trump cards of Enzu. They are 6 brothers born to the same mother, but without a father. When she was born, her mother died due to difficult labor, but the strange events surrounding them began right after. She slowly recounted the story, saying that they were raised by a large female ape, which was why their limbs were more unusual compared to ordinary humans, and their speed was faster. Later, they encountered a wise master who taught them martial arts and how to execute formations. From that point on, their martial arts reached great heights. They then became mountain bandits along trade routes, robbing and pillaging, and no one could stop them. This attracted the attention of the 4 major clans. The clans united, sending their top-tier experts to surround them, eventually managing to eliminate them. However, in reality, the 6 siblings did not die. Instead, the leader of Enzu secretly took them back, continuously using medicinal treatments to enhance both their defense and attack capabilities, even providing them with rare metal attributes to form body armor. After hearing her recount the story, Poisonous Snake decisively concluded, to put it simply, they are very strong. At this moment, Chen An was feeling very worried. He thought to himself, because of the consumption of the X-ray vision, I may not be able to use my spirit power in the short term. In that case, the chance of victory is less than 1 in 10. But over here, Wang Bao hasn't undergone close combat training. Mu Lin Shuo specializes in stealth, not brute force. Poisonous Snake is severely injured and needs treatment. Lost in thought, a voice suddenly came from behind, snapping him back to reality. I'm here. Chen An turned around in surprise and said, Why? Wai walked up to him, looked at him and spoke with a soft voice. It's fine. Chen An replied, You said we need to form a team and each person needs to contribute their value. I don't want you always standing in front of me to protect me. You all agree, right? Hearing her question, the other 3 people remained silent, unsure how to respond. Seeing her confident demeanor, Chen An happily said, All right, don't worry, just keep fighting. I'll help you plan the battle. The 6 warriors were now ready for combat, and Wai was no less prepared. She took the initiative to strike first, charging towards them and shouting, Charge through here. One of the 6 pulled out a metal rod and aimed it directly at her. Wai scoffed, raising her hand to block it. Taking advantage of the moment when they were attacking and off guard, she threw a punch straight at them. What? She cried out when she saw one of them grab her wrist. Before she could react, he flung her away. She screamed in panic, and before she could recover, he kicked her in the back. Ah! She cried out in pain. At that moment, one of them stepped forward, grabbing Wai and forcefully pressing her down to the ground by her neck. With her throat gripped tightly, she could only make a few strangled sounds. The other 4, 2 holding her arms and 2 holding her legs, stretched her body out. Wai, furious, growled, Damn it. Mu Lin Shuo noticed something and quickly told everyone, This is bad. This is their special technique. Level form, they're trying to tear Bad Wai into 4 pieces. Chen An, hearing Lin Shuo's words, cried out in alarm, We're in trouble. At that moment, an arrow suddenly shot through the air and struck one of the 6 warriors in the leg. It turned out that each of the warriors had been hit by Wang Bao's arrows, which was why they looked unfamiliar. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Wai broke free from their grasp and confidently said, Thanks, but I can still. She spoke while pulling out a dagger. Wang Bao, afraid she might be in danger, was about to rush to her aid. Seeing this, Chen An quickly stopped him, saying, No need to help. I believe she can handle it. At this moment, Zhu ran over in a hurry and said, But they are very formidable. Wai, is that all right? Wang Bao turned to her, laughed loudly, and then responded, Of course, no problem. How could the boss's woman be weak? Chen An, seeing this, immediately gave Wang Bao a slap and shouted, You talk too much. Focus on me. Bai Wai then approached, facing the group. They attacked with long shark chains aimed at eliminating her. Though they had the advantage in numbers, the quality of their attack was not necessarily superior. Bai Wai remained highly alert. One of them quickly appeared right behind her. Mu Lin Shuo, noticing this, said, They're attacking from both above and below while blocking escape routes on the left, right, and rear. It seems the only way to avoid this is in midair. Once she loses the initiative in the air, her limbs could be caught. Then Chen An spoke up, saying, The coordinated attacking formation is indeed interesting, and we could learn from it. But this method of attack won't work on our Wai. After all, Bad Wai swiftly launched her ultimate move. Chen An stood there, praising her bone and muscle strengthening indeed. Bad Wai charged forward, delivering a punch, thinking bone and muscle strengthening. So what? Could it possibly break through my special armor? Unexpectedly, she attacked her opponent from behind, catching him off guard. He slowly collapsed at Bai Wai's feet. The remaining ones saw this and quickly moved to form a line, charging directly at Bai Wai, shouting no. Bai Wai was bound by chains around her arms, preventing her from taking the initiative. Then the chains wrapped around her legs. Bai Wai was pulled and brought down to the ground. Seeing her in a disadvantaged position, they immediately rushed at her, saying, Go die. Wang Bao, witnessing this, panicked and shouted, Boss, they've taken down your woman. He quickly slapped Wang Bao and said, Shut up, what nonsense are you talking about? Just as he said, Bai Wai quickly countered the attackers. She grabbed a tool and cut the chain that was binding her. Then Bai Wai stood up, arrogantly asking, Is that all you've got? Or do you want to go down and join them? They still refused to give up and charged at her again. In no time, the chains had bound her hands and feet again. However, she was not afraid. Instead, she arrogantly said, Is this all you know? It's no longer useful against me. She then used a move that sent them flying, making them scream in agony. Her opponents fell like raindrops to the ground. At that moment, Bai Wai turned to him with a look that sought praise. She then spoke, asking, Did I not disappoint you? Wang Bao complimented her, saying, Miss Bai, you're truly impressive. She angrily shouted at him, Who's Miss Bai to you? It's little sister, understand, not sister. Chen An, with a proud expression, walked over and said, I always believed in you. Let's go. Let's move on to the next door. Wang Bao, with one hand on his hip and the other raised in a triumphant gesture, said with great confidence, It seems like these 6 warriors aren't that strong after all. My sister can handle them all by herself. Mu Lin Shuo shot him a sideways glance. Isn't it just because you have a powerful weapon in your hand? How do you expect to break through the armor of the 6 martial warriors with regular weapons? Looking at the dagger in her hand, Bai Weiwei smiled and said, Exactly. Of course, I have to thank Chen An for gifting me this precious dagger. Mu Lin Shuo, feeling annoyed, looked at Chen and Mr. Chen. You should treat everyone equally, you know. Can't you stop showing favoritism? Chen An wiped the sweat from his brow and responded, If there's a chance, if there's a chance. He felt even more frustrated thinking about it. Chen An, in his anger, slammed his fist onto Wang Bao's head. It's all your fault, he grumbled, clearly aggrieved. Huh? Why me? I'm just saying what's on my mind. As the group walked on, enjoying their surroundings, Zhu Zhu closed her eyes, savoring the pleasant scent in the air. Wow, it smells so good here. Wang Bao, with a sense of euphoria, staggered as if walking on air, as if floating on clouds. As if still not satisfied, Zhu Zhu spun around impulsively, calling out, This feels so good. Xiao Huan Huan, standing beside her, seemed to be caught up in the joyful atmosphere, lifting her head as if also expressing her emotions. Wang Bao, in a sudden burst of affection, hugged his loyal dog. Buddy, the fruit-infused wine smells amazing. We'll drink it later together. The dog followed the young man again, squinting its eyes comfortably, letting out a howl as if to show its agreement. With a snap, Mu Lin Shuo slammed the wick down on the table and said to Bai Weiwei, Listen carefully. If you don't pay attention to the lecture, I will make you stay after class and teach you a lesson. Bai Weiwei, tearless but desperate, quickly explained, Listen to me. Everything is not what you think. Please, just hear me out. Mu Lin Shuo shook his head like a drum. I won't listen, it's all just excuses. Chen An, standing nearby, seemed a little dazed by the strange scent in the air trying to mediate. Hey, this isn't good, let's talk things through slowly, alright? The group seemed to have lost their sense of self, realizing something was off. Poisonous Snake panicked, suddenly realized they had all been poisoned, but then, remembering something, he blurted out, This is the poison formation. In the strange pink mist, 3 people suddenly appeared. One of them spoke. I was wondering whose resistance was so strong. Turns out it's the traitor Poisonous Snake. Poisonous Snake, sweating profusely, anxiously asked, It's you guys. Why is Sanshi guarding the formation now too? This is really unexpected. As his thoughts were interrupted, the 3 people vanished. He frantically searched around. While looking, a hand suddenly shot out in front of him, causing his face to drain of all color. Under the clear blue sky, the sunlight blended with the gentle breeze. Everyone was enjoying the cool, refreshing waters. This was paradise, wasn't it? Zhu Zhu was leaning on a float, laughing and reaching out her hand towards Chen An. Hey An, come over here. On the shore, 3 people, 1 man and 2 women, were sunbathing. Mu Lin Shuo was leaning on Chen An with his arm around him, while Bai Weiwei was casually tracing the outline of his firm abdominal muscles with her fingers. Chen An squinted with pleasure, both addicted and shy. Hey, this isn't very good, ladies, but don't stop, please don't stop. Zhu Zhu in the water was also happily urging him. Ha ha, come down here and play in the water. It's really cool down here. Everyone is lost in an illusion. In reality, outside, Poisonous Snake was sparring with a group from Sanshi. 3 against 1 was hardly fair. Sure enough, after a moment, he took a hit from his opponent. The young man staggered back. Chen quickly reached out from behind to steady his shoulder, his eyes full of concern, saying, Be careful. The people from Sanshi won't give up easily. The battle continued, but this time Chen An fought back fiercely, catching his opponent off guard. The other person, shocked at underestimating him, exclaimed, What? How could he fall back now? After the dangerous moment passed, Chen An anxiously looked toward Poisonous Snake. You took the blow to protect me. Otherwise, with your skills, you could have avoided it. Poisonous Snake, tired, leaned against the wall. I was saved. If I had been a little slower, he would have had to watch the naked chicken. The Sanshi group sensed the situation was turning against them, signaling each other to retreat quickly. Chen An focused his spirit power, trying to extract the Poisonous Snake's treatment. Fortunately, the wound wasn't severe. He asked in a deep voice, How are you? He ignored his own grave injury and focused on the main issue, saying, This is a poison formation. Then he fell into deep thought again, looking at Chen An. The poison that affected you is from the ghost grass. Initially, you'll experience hallucinations, then lose all sense of reason and become a soulless corpse. He paused for a moment, then felt a bit of relief. Boss, your spirit power is profound, and with the poison already in my blood, it actually helps to counteract the toxin. But if they don't manage to detoxify within 2 hours, then the consequences are clear to everyone. Chen An looked at him and asked, "Do you know what kind of poison this is? Do you have an antidote?" Poisonous Snake gazed at Chen An, then whispered, "I can do it, but the herbs I carry aren't enough. I can only make one pill. Boss, who do you want to save?" Chen An glanced at the others around him. There was no choice when it came to the adults. He had to choose everyone. His eyes were resolute as he looked at his team. No one can be left behind. I'll move fast and search for the herbs to detoxify from here. He paused for a moment. Chen An handed the single pill to Lin Shuo. This pill, he decided to give it to Lin Shuo because she was skilled at hiding. If they couldn't fight off the enemies, she could escape. As soon as she swallowed the pill, Lin Shuo felt completely drained. The refreshing sensation was gone. She felt dizzy and nervously touched her head. "Ah, I'm so dizzy. Did I get poisoned?" Mu Lin Shuo looked at Chen An and asked. He looked at her and stated the truth. "Lin Shuo, everyone has been poisoned. The antidote can only save one person right now, and only I can find the antidote ingredients in a short time. You and Poisonous Snake need to stand guard here. I will be back in half an hour. Is that okay?" Mu Lin Shuo smiled at Chen An and gently said, "This proves that in a critical moment, I am more reliable than Bai Wai, right?" Chen An nodded and responded, "I understand. Don't worry." He patted Mu Lin Shuo's head and gently reassured her. "I've always trusted you, but you must protect yourself well." Then he conjured a sandblast and handed it to Mu Lin Shuo. "Give me some time." The sandblast began to flow. She took it and smiled, replying, "Don't worry, I will make sure to protect everyone." Chen An sat down and focused on his cultivation while being guarded by the others. Mu Lin Shuo ordered Poisonous Snake to be cautious. "Knock out the others first, I'll hide them." Poisonous Snake answered, "Understood." A strange fragrance spread throughout the cellar, causing Zhu Zhu to stagger and fall backward. Wang Bao and his pet both sneezed. "Well done, bro, you just puked on me." Bai Wai hurriedly dodged the mist and yelled, "Your Majesty, I swear it wasn't me." After they all passed out, Poisonous Snake brought them inside and asked, "Should I find a dead-end corner?" Mu Lin Shuo immediately responded with a firm statement, "Perhaps the most dangerous place is the safest one."